Well said. This meeting will come to order. Welcome to the September 10, 2019 regular meeting and public hearing of the Manatee County School Board. You're all very welcome. Those who wish to make public comments. Am I not coming through well? Okay. Those who wish to make public comments, please sign the card. We welcome public comments. That's the orderly way to do it. We're going to conduct an orderly business meeting tonight. There will not be any shouts from the board or from the audience, and you'll be asked to leave if you do. If there's any board member who wants to talk with the audience, that's good. Just make a motion to take a momentary recess, and we'll allow that if that is absolutely necessary. So, that being said, I'm going to ask that our distinguished Vice Chair, Gina Messinger, lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you very much. We have with us this evening Michael Barber, who will lead us in the recognition of Gold School and 5-Star Awards. This is a really big deal, folks. Please give it your attention. Thank you, Mr. Barber.
Enthusiastic crowd.
Mr. Chair,
Am I on or?
yeah, we're having a little bit.
Okay.
Y'all come on down. The whole group. Come on, yeah. Smile and we're going to be running out the door here. Mr. Chair, board members, Superintendent Saunders. One of our favorite things to do here and during recognitions is to honor a multitude of our schools for special achievements, and that's the great task that we have before us tonight. So you will see the number of schools that are represented for this particular honor, and to tell us more about it is our community engagement specialist, Deborah Perry-Gambino. So, Deborah.
Thank you. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Good evening, Chairman Minor, board members, and Superintendent Saunders. There you are. The Florida Department of Education presents the annual Golden School Award to elementary, secondary, and adult schools who have promoted volunteer opportunities at their school sites to increase parent and community involvement in student education. Any volunteer activity that contributes to student improvement may be counted, including fundraising, chaperoning field trips, tutoring, and mentoring. The award recognizes those schools who have a designated volunteer coordinator for recruitment, placement, training, and supervision of volunteers. The school must have accrued volunteer hours equal to double the number of students enrolled, and 80% of school staff should participate in training during the year. I am pleased to say that last year we logged 134,000 volunteer hours, and that accumulated to its 5,339 actual volunteers in our schools. So for the 2018-19 Golden School Award presented this year, I'd like to announce we have 26 schools. A few of those will not be with us tonight, but I'll certainly go down the list and we'll see who was able to make it. So first of all, we have from Abel Elementary, Assistant Principal Rebecca Brito. From Anna Maria Elementary, Principal Jackie Featherston. Ballard Elementary School Homeschool Liaison, Brittany Jenkins. The Shaw Elementary Principal Mario Mendoza and Assistant Principal Beth Marshall. Blackburn Elementary Principal Latrina Singleton and Assistant Principal Danielle Delk. From Braden River Elementary, Principal Joshua Bennett. Freedom Elementary, we have Assistant Principal Michelle Danowski and Student Support Specialist Carolyn Wingett. From Gullett Elementary, Assistant Principal Tony Schreier. And Canaan Elementary, Assistant Principal Todd Blackmore. Manatee Elementary, we have Graduation Enhancement Technician Renita Houston. Unfortunately, McNeil Elementary could not be represented tonight. We have Miller Elementary Principal Scott Boys. Moody Elementary was unable to make it. But we have Myakka City Elementary Student Support Specialist Elizabeth Harris. From Oniko Elementary, Principal Kimberly Organic. Palmasola could not be with us this evening, but from Palmetto Elementary, Principal Michelle Milo. From Prine Elementary, Principal Lynn Menard. From Seabreeze Elementary, Principal Greg Sander. From Stewart Elementary, Principal Joseph Hoagland. Representing Tara Elementary, Reading Coach Betsy Bickle Perry. Unfortunately, Williams Elementary and Willis Elementary. Is Williams here? No, they are here. Okay. Principal Connie Dixon and Assistant Principal Sheila Wade. So Willis is not here, unless you're going to surprise me. Nope. And Witt Elementary, Principal David Marshall. And then from Buffalo Creek Middle, Principal Brad Scarborough. And last but not least, from Johnson K-8 School of International Studies, we have Principal Anthony Lasada and Assistant Principal Irene Nikitopoulos. I hope I got that right. And thank you, everybody. Congratulations, and thank you for your volunteer programs, your volunteers, and we just need to grow that program.
We are going to get over here, Deb, and we are going to get a photo, so I need everybody's cooperation. I'm going to ask the taller people to step towards the back, and so we can get everybody in. Just adjust a little bit. Right. Right. Okay. We got it? Okay. And again, these 26 schools that are being honored for, their volunteer participation. And I know we have some volunteers. Do we have any school volunteers in the audience? If so, would you stand up? Norm?
Congratulations, Joe.
Hey, Joe, how are you?
Congratulations,
Ross, congratulations.
Congratulations.
And I fed my dog, too.
Oh, were they?
Sat down with Shireen.
Yeah, right.
Administrators.
Yeah,
So they
at least
can
you
be
brought
here,
'em.
which is wonderful. Do what?
Right, at least you brought them, that's good.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Mr. Barber. Nice job done. The chair has found good cause to amend the agenda to include all items listed under agenda amendments on the September 10, 2019 agenda, updated September 5, 2019, and posted to the district website. Do I hear a motion to approve the agenda as amended? It's been moved by Board Member Copes and seconded by Vice Chair Messenger. Any discussion? The chair hearing none. The chair will call the question. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. The motion by Mr. Hopes, Board Member Hopes, carries unanimously. The next thing on our agenda is the report concerning the Central Florida Public School Boards Coalition, and I have the privilege, as many of you know, of representing you and the board in Orlando for monthly meetings of the Central Florida School Board Coalition, which represents 14 school districts from the Gulf to the Atlantic, and about 1.5 million families and their children in the state of Florida. What we had at our meeting on yesterday for an hour and a half was a discussion with some guy named the Commissioner of Education who shared with us his thoughts about where we're going and our needs. And I think that I was very impressed with what he had to say. He's been involved with this district for some time. He said that there is recognition by our governor that there is a need for more funds for public education, and how much is not determined at this point, but there is a recognition that we have fallen behind for the last 30 years with most states in the country. And that does not bode well for attracting teachers and other employees to work here in this great state. Nice beaches and lots of sunshine go a long way. Having a noble profession such as teaching is great, but nobility does not buy the groceries. It does not pay the rent. It doesn't pay the mortgage, and it doesn't pay for the student loans that were incurred in order to become a teacher. And as a result, many of our teaching colleges do not have the enrollment that they had 5, 10, 20 years ago, and we have a great number of vacancies, not just in our district, but also across the state of Florida. We are helped, and we are in a favorable position relative to other districts because the wisdom, the generosity of the citizens of Manatee County a year ago marched to say, we think that public education is important enough that we should add a millage. And that did reduce the flow of teachers from Manatee to Sarasota and Pinellas and Hillsborough and some other counties. So relatively speaking, we're in a better position than many counties, but we do still have too many vacancies, and that's across the state of Florida. And what we had from Commissioner Cochran, that his feeling was that the governor very much wanted to go forward with and having the legislature address further improvements in per student allocation. I don't think there's anybody in this room who will argue with that. This afternoon, the board in workshop talked about that, and we will be meeting with our legislative delegation on, I believe it's October 1st, isn't it? Or is it the 2nd? Help me out here. Anyway, in a couple, the 1st of October, to pitch the need of public education in Florida, and particularly here in Manatee. That was the highlight of our meeting over there. I thank everybody and the board for the privilege of representing you and advocating for you with the coalition. It's a good way for uniting efforts to promote Manatee County and Central Florida Public Schools. And thank you very much. The next thing on our agenda is the public hearing concerning policies. I'm going to turn it over to our distinguished Vice Chair, Gina Messenger, regarding any public comments signed up to speak. So I'm going to temporarily close the regular meeting and open up the meeting for the public hearing.
Okay, I don't have anyone signed up to speak for this public hearing, but because it is a public hearing, anyone that would like to speak on the specific topic of these policies is welcome to come forward. The policies that are before us today are amendments to these following policies. Policy 1113, conflicting employment and contractual relationships. Policy 1122, non-discrimination, equal opportunity, employment opportunity. Policy 1140, suspensions or dismissal of administrators. Policy 1220, evaluation of administrators. Policy 1242, professional development. Policy 1362, anti-harassment. Policy 1590, personnel file. Policy 3122, non-discrimination and equal employment opportunity. Policy 3128, contract instructional personnel. Policy 3140, suspensions or dismissal of instructional staff. Policy 3220, evaluation of instructional personnel. Policy 3242, professional development. Policy 3362, anti-harassment. Policy 3590, personnel file. Policy 4122, non-discrimination, equal employment opportunity. Policy 4162, drug and alcohol testing for CDL license holders and other employees who perform safety-sensitive functions. Policy 4362, anti-harassment. Policy 4590, personnel file. Policy 6320, purchasing and contracting for goods and services. Policy 7310, disposition of surplus property. There's only so many things I could say before I start to get tongue-tied. Policy 7320, acquisition, removal, disposal, sale, or exchange of major tangible property. Policy 7540, technology. Policy 8141, mandatory reporting of misconduct. Policy 8315, information management. And finally, Policy 88, thank you, TED, the American flag and official motto of the state of Florida. If there's anyone that would like to speak on the amendments to any of these policies that I have listed, you are welcome to come forward. So y'all made me do that for nothing. With that,
Okay. All right. We're going to close the hearing and I'm going to ask if there's a recommendation from the superintendent for approval of these changes in the school board policies. Okay.
Yes, I recommend the approval of amendments to policy 1113, policy 1122, policy 1140, policy 1220, policy 1242, policy 1362, policy 1590, policy 2431.03, policy 3122, policy 3128, policy 3140, policy 3220, policy 3242, policy 3362, policy 3590, policy 4122, policy 4162, policy 4362, policy 4590, policy 6320, policy 73110, policy 7320, policy 7540, policy 8141, policy 8315, and policy 8810.
Thank you. We've had a recommendation from our, it's been moved by Vice Chair Messenger. It's seconded by Board Member Kennedy. Is there discussion? Board Member Hopes is recognized for discussion.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm going to go ahead and make this in the form of a motion, then I'll discuss it. With regards to policy 1113, conflicting employment or contractual relationship, I move to amend the motion for this policy to revert back to what is currently in the policy, which is a prohibition for a period of 2 years. And the reason why I make that motion is because the 2019 statutes is 2 years. So I'm not sure why this policy change moved it to 1 year, which is contrary to Florida statutes. That is my motion, Mr. Chairman.
I'll second that.
Okay. There's been a motion. We got two motions on the floor here.
We have a motion to amend the motion.
Okay, there's a motion to amend the motion that was made to amend all of the policies that have been recited by the superintendent. And I'm going to, now there's a motion to amend one of the policies, and I'm going to ask if there's any discussion. I'm particularly going to ask the superintendent if she was aware of this proposed, and does she have any comment on it?
No, I have no problem with the amendment, because what the amendment is stating is that we just follow the language in the statute.
Okay. Is that consistent with your understanding, Board Member Hope?
If we allow it to revert back to, and this would be the fourth sentence from the bottom, where there is 2 years is stricken, and there's an insertion of 1 year. If we remove that deletion and just leave it at 2 years, and include the statement that says unless otherwise specified by statute, I am fine with it.
Okay. Is there any further discussion? Chair hearing none, the chair will call for a vote on the motion by Board Member Hopes that was seconded by Vice Chair Messenger. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. The motion by Board Member Hopes is unanimously approved. Now, there's still on the floor, the main motion that was as amended that previously has been raised. Is there any further discussion? Chair hearing none, the chair will call the question. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. The motion to approve as amended, the motion that was originally made is approved unanimously, 5-0. Thank you very much. The next item on the agenda, please correct me if I'm wrong, is another public hearing and to adopt the 2019-2020 final budget. Is there a recommendation from the superintendent?
Public hearing.
Public hearing.
Okay, public hearing. Please forgive me. Okay, we have a public hearing, and I'm going to turn the gavel over to our vice chair.
Okay.
Okay, am I getting
Oh, you're good. You're good.
further instructions? Okay, thank you. Go, please proceed. Yeah.
Okay. This is a public hearing, specific to the adoption of the 1920 final budget. I have two folks that have already signed up to speak on this item. That would be Mr. Nelson and Ms. Kness. Mr. Nelson, come on down. All about the budget.
Good evening, I'm fellow board members, and my, looking at the budget, and then I looked at what you're gonna pass out later, is on to looking at your capital expenditures, and I just happen to have $174 million here in my billfold. I'm showing you how you do this. 174 million, you got four funds. Well, I'm gonna look at here, typically, there's $1,000 here. There's $1,000. And looking at budgeting, I'm gonna, 200 of that is made up of the general revenue. $100 is meant from the debit. $400 into the capital, and $300 in the advertising. That's what it advertises. And it amounts to 174. And one of the things you do in the budget is transfer. Is transfer in the budget. Let's say this is capital budget, $400. If I transfer that, part of that to the general fund, and part of this to special, or to debt, I'm only left with $200. If you still add it up together, you've transferred money you don't have. You still have, according to the budget, in the general fund, in the capital fund, $174 million. You never transferred that out of here. And still, I got $1,000, and yet you counted fictitiously the amount of $47,920,765. Double counted that. and added up to a total of $775, which in my next 3 minutes, which I'm allotted, I'll give you copies of that. But you cannot transfer money out when you don't have it. And yet you're trying to transfer $47 million. Transfer from the capital fund into the general and to the debt. You can't add to this $1,000. And I'll do that one more time. At the next session, we'll have a big handout for you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Ms. Kness?
I'm representing a group tonight and am grateful for the opportunity to come back before you in regards to the budget that you're considering tonight. And I want to thank Dr. Hopes for asking the questions at your last board meeting to find out more about our organization's leadership, educational plan, and financial plan. And so we'll start with the leadership. Sitting next to you is an alumni board member. Reverend Golden was on our board of directors. And he holds the distinction of having one of my favorite all-time quotes during a board meeting. When we were having board members retire out, we do have rotations in our board terms. New board members were coming in, and he stood up before he retired from the board and said, "I just want everyone to know that this is the least contentious board I have ever been on." And that sums it up beautifully, Reverend Golden, and thank you for that comment and for your service to Just for Girls in our community. We also have former school board member Jane Filesticker on our board of directors. She would have been here tonight, but she's out of state. And so we've got people that you know well. We have Senator Marlene Woodson Howard. She's seated behind me tonight. And beside me, we have another alumni board member, Sandra Hawley, with her husband, Reverend Hawley. And next to her is Chris Gause, who's on our board of directors, and her husband, a former school board member, Bob Gause, is with us in support of our request for your consideration for what we have coming before you in your budget. We started in April of 2018, before the last budget and before our last contract. The district staff told us this is a board decision. You will have to get their authorization in order for this request to be put in our contract. We had other issues. It was referred to committee. It was referred to legal. It was tabled. There were serious priorities that were on your plate. And so our contract came and went last year. We went ahead and rose wages because we had to for staff retention to align with what the district has done. We also have extended our school day, and I'm asking you to consider equity and funding through the general budget if it can't be done through the millage, so that Just for Girls can be made whole last year and this year and going forward until we can be written in specifically in the new language with the millage. And that is the recommendation, the unanimous recommendation of your Citizens Financial Advisory Committee. We do also have our audit that we submit to the school district. Your contract with us is rigorous, and it already requests an audit. We comply with all of that every year, monthly and quarterly reporting. In our audit, and I sent that to you specifically so you all could see it, you will read our independent auditor hired by our board of directors to review us on higher standards than most nonprofits because of the government funding that we do receive. And in there, he will assure you that Just for Girls consistently receives the highest assurance possible. He presents to our board of directors, and one of the questions, another favorite quote from Jane Pratt, who taught us about good boardsmanship through her parliamentarian expertise, she asked the auditor, in one word, how would you describe our organization and our audit? And he thought for a moment and said, consistent. And I would say that sums it up very well also. In our audit, you'll also see that only 7% of our expenses are toward management in general and fundraising, leaving 93% going toward program services. That is the most efficient nonprofit that I've seen, way below the industry standard. And it's because of partnerships that we have that share some of the overhead. We share our space and we share our leadership costs. We also have transparency. In GuideStar, that is the nonprofit transparency organization. It is very difficult to get their highest level, which is platinum. Just for Girls sought that out in 2017 and got it. We maintained it throughout 2018, and we expect to have it again by the end of the year in 2019. It is a stamp of transparency and accountability for our organization, as well as our Tampa Bay Business Journal Award, Nonprofit of the Year. These are all financially related recognitions. We did receive Excellence in Education this year from the Florida Department of Education. We want you to approve inclusion of Just for Girls in this budget. And I also want to ask all of those that are here with me tonight to stand in support of this. We may need to have them all come up and speak before you vote during this public hearing. Would you all please stand in support of Just for Girls? Thank you. And thank you again.
Okay, those are the two people that I had signed up for public comment. This is specific about the budget. I have another public comment section that comes later. This is only specifically about the budget. I got you later. Do you want to talk about the budget? All right, come on down. You've got 3 minutes.
Hi, Ernest Sandy Marshall, First Vice President of the Federation, Manatee County Community Associations. I did sign up for 5 minutes, and a young lady outside said that I would have 5 minutes for my presentation. She was working with a computer, and it went down or something. I don't know what happened. And so I had requested that when I came in.
There's the will of the board. Okay,
Fine.
fine.
Can we start over again?
But this is specifically to the budget.
Yes. I'd like to thank you for the opportunity to appear before you. I see faces I am familiar with in the community. It's been several years before I appeared here before the school board. I've been a member of the Federation for 50 years. They've been in business for over 60. I moved here when I was 16 years old, 1951, when this county was 23,000 people. We're now crowding 500,000. So I've seen a few changes. I'd like to submit to you that I appeared before the County Commission yesterday and made the same comment and presentation, but in a little broader scope than what I'm going to speak about here tonight. And that is that the Federation, after the near scare and almost tragic event of when Dorian almost hit the state of Florida but took a right hook and went up the coastline, after all these years, that was a storm that scared me probably the most. Because if it had hit Florida and then come on in and turned up like the hurricanes that we had last year, was it Irma, I guess it was, it came up through the middle of the state. And then we had Michael come up and flatten the Panhandle, and this storm, Dorian, flattened the Bahamas. It made me, as a member of the Federation, I've talked to some of our members, realize we've got to do something about improving the storm shelters for this community. We're not at 23,000 people anymore. We're at 500,000, Sarasota 600,000, Fort Myers is 800,000. There's 2 or 3 million maybe in Tampa that are going to all try to crowd onto I-75 to seek safety if they can't stay here. And so the message today is to ask you to keep the budget door open so that we can figure out a way to fund the hardening of existing schools and make it mandatory on any future schools are stormproof for the purposes of protecting the people and particularly the kids. Now, the school board has a shared responsibility, if you will, with the county commission. The county commission has a broader picture of the health, welfare, and safety of this community. The school board is dedicated to trying to provide the quality education that we all expect for our kids and grandkids. But they also have to keep them safe, and they also keep the parents safe. Because if you don't have parents that live here that can pay taxes, and if a storm hits and wipes out these families, you're not going to be able to collect taxes from anybody for anything, whether it's the school board, the county commission. And it's not a question if we're going to have one of these storms, it's a question of when. And so we're asking that you keep this door open, if you will, through the coming year. This is the time to talk about money. And so I urge the county commission that they join forces with you folks here at this board and also with some of the state people and the feds to try to work on getting the storm shelter situation in hand so they will be satisfied that we can send our people to safe places, especially along the shorelines, and we've got a lot of them in Manatee County. So we're going to prepare a letter. This is our first thought on doing this. We have just started our meetings this month for the coming year for the Federation, so we really haven't had a chance to air this, but we're going to go back and pull out the information we can find, come to the board staff here, get information, go to the county commission, get with Steve Lichauer, who is our disaster chairman for this county, and gather this information and send recommendations here for the school board to review and recommendations for the county commission to review to see if we can get a sensible solution to protect all of us and our families. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else that would like to speak to the budget?
Good evening. I'm Sandra Holly. I'm here in support of Just for Girls. I was introduced to Baker Kness and Just for Girls in 2005, and I have recently served 6 years as a corporate board member. And during my involvement with Just for Girls, I have seen phenomenal transformation of the girls who attend there. The academic progress of these students and the impeccable management of Just for Girls is well documented in their annual reports, and also being recognized by state and local organizations. As an alumni corporate board member and a Manatee County taxpayer, I urge this board to correct the budget inequity, to include Just for Girls in the 1 meal staff supplement schedule. As district-operated schools of choice, Just for Girls middle and elementary schools deserve the benefit of being able to recruit and retain highly skilled teachers to work with this special population. I wish to thank the board for your consideration in correcting this inequity to afford the highest quality of education, allowing all of our girls to meet their highest potential. Thank you.
Mr. Gause?
Thank you. I was signed up under public comment.
Yeah.
This was what I was going to speak about, so you
Okay.
can take me off public comment. My name's Bob Gause, and appreciate you letting me get up here and speak. I'm also here speaking on behalf of Just for Girls. One other member, actually I met Ms. Guinness probably back in 1989. I was impressed with her, but I was also on the board when we started funding it and made it a contract site. And I can remember actually another colleague of Mr. Dye's, Ms. Patricia Petrov, who spoke on their behalf. And it impressed me as to the fact that, you know, you're dealing with people. And it's real easy to break things down into numbers, you know, and increasingly with the testing and everything else, education is becoming a numbers game. But you also have to recognize that it's about humans, and that's what they teach, that's what they deal with. So it's a good program, and I think that they've done a good job of trying to be very transparent. I know that's something, especially now, is, you know, very paramount to try and make sure that you can see what are they doing. Are they spending their money properly? Can you see how they're doing it? Can you see that they're serving the kids? And I also know from 10 years on the board that you're not going to change the budget probably tonight. But what I would ask you to do is to give your staff direction to bring you back a budget amendment at the next meeting, at the next budget board meeting, where you get your budget amendments. I think it's the second meeting of each month, maybe it's the first. And direct staff to come back at that meeting with a budget amendment that corrects the funding so that they get their fair share. I mean, at the end of the day, the millage was about equitable funding of our students. These are your students. So it's just about saying, okay, one way or the other, we're going to make sure that those students get the same funding that the rest of the students get. So I would ask that you give your staff that direction and say, we're not going to fix it tonight, but we are going to direct you to fix it by the next meeting and bring us the amendment that does that. Thank you very much.
I know you signed up, but we're not on general public comment. This is specific about the budget, and I didn't see you sign up specifically for the budget. It's on the card for budget? All right, come on down, Rachel. Come on down, Mr. Jubilina.
It's open mic.
It's open, yeah, anybody can come on down,
Anybody can come down.
as
For the
long as it's
record,
specific to the budget.
just for the budget, for the record, Glenn Gibolina, taxpayer. I'm going to chime in here on Just for Girls. You know, if you look at their past record, it's been exceptional. 7% in the nonprofit world is unheard of, so hats off to them. As Mr. Goss says, you can make an amendment to the budget. So as I was watching the Board of County Commissioners today, Mr. Kennedy went and said that they were going to find another $49,000 somewhere.
Well, that's not quite right, but I'll talk about that later.
Okay, so, I mean, we're making decisions in board and county meetings about the school budget. So I was just wondering how that would work if they asked to be included. So I'm a little confused on that, and I would like an explanation of that. So that's where I'm coming on that. That's about it. So that's it on the budget, but I've got other stuff I've got to talk about.
Thank you. Rachel, come on down.
Sorry for the mix-up, there was a computer issue.
Yeah, I think you're actually on here a
Probably
couple
can't
times.
read my
too,
writing,
so
which
I
is
don't
totally
even know.
understandable. That's okay. Thanks, you guys. Hi, Superintendent and Chairman Minor, and you guys, thanks for having me real quick. I will keep this short. I probably won't take my 3 minutes. It was in regards to the budget, because I just wanted to recognize, as we kept telling you, and we will continue to tell you, that on behalf of Palmetto High, we're excited. I'm glad we're in there for that amount, but we'd like to continue to bring it to your attention that we're more than just drainage. There are other issues that could be addressed. I noticed that from the last one that I saw to today, that Manatee has been added an HVC unit where, from my understanding, we were actually given Manatee High's hand-me-down boiler last time, and ours still doesn't work, and so that's not on there either. So, we're still working with air conditioning unit issues and AC issues at Palmetto High School. So, I'm just bringing it to your attention that we're going to continue to remain involved and continue to remain passionate on behalf of Palmetto High, that we are one town, one team, and we are just going to continue to look and be involved and watch where our money is spent, but that we're hopeful that you will continue to put some more effort and some more oomph behind Palmetto High. Well, we're looking, like I said, those numbers, that 19 million sticks a little bit when you're giving it to parish community, which we'd have no problem with. But when you're looking at $1 million over the next 2 years to work on a drainage issue that's been there for decades, that's our problem. So we just, not our problem, just want to continue to ask you to put it in your thoughts, put it in your consideration for Palmetto High and the city of Palmetto, because it's more than that. It is an effect on our entire city. So that's it. I just wanted to thank you again for remembering us, that we were in there, so that's a plus. And always thank you for being communicative, because I really appreciate that on behalf of all of us for you guys. And that's it, just to keep letting you know we're present, and we'll still be
For
here.
the record, will you state your name?
Oh, Rachel Kenzior.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks.
Are you here to speak about the budget?
Yes.
Can you state your name for the record?
My name is Marlene Woodson Howard. I'm a member of the board of Just for Girls. And I also chair the capital campaign, co-chair the capital campaign to build a new facility on 59th Street. And if you've been by there, you'll know how badly it's needed. Building there has been there since 1979. The nonprofit world is a distinctly American tradition where a group of people get together and band together to support a cause. The Manatee County Girls Club has taken on the mission of assisting high-risk girls in reaching their potential for the past 50 years. Doing business as Just for Girls, we have an elementary and a middle school, which are contracted, as you know, with the Manatee School Board. Our teachers take these little girls, many of whom have suffered unimaginable circumstances in their young lives, and find it difficult to thrive in a traditional setting. And we take those children and help them move toward their potential. In a safe environment, they catch up with their peers, not only academically, but in social skills and self-esteem. At the end of the 8th grade, they're ready to rejoin their peers in high school. And we have a young lady with us today who completed our program in the spring. She's now in the 9th grade and in the Honor Society. So they develop the skills that will allow them to succeed. This is an award-winning exemplary program because of the skilled and dedicated teachers. It is grossly unfair if they're not to be included in funding by the millage proceeds. They're part of the county system in accountability. The exclusion of Just for Girls is particularly painful for me because I sat on the committee formed to encourage passage of this referendum. Never did I dream that the cause closest to my heart would not benefit. I urge you to right this wrong and include them in benefits given to even to the charter schools this year and all the other years of the millage revenue. In 3 years, this will expire, and I believe that the good people in Manatee County will renew the millage revenue if it's distributed fairly and they have a return on their investment. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else that would like to speak to the budget? That concludes public comment.
Okay. Thank you, Vice Chair Messenger. We'll close the hearing on the public budget and the public hearing on the millage and the public budget. We're going to reopen the regular meeting. We're at the public hearing, excuse me. Is there a superintendent's recommendation? No, I'm getting signals that I'm not doing this right.
The recommendation for this item needs to come under new business. So it needs to follow the budget amendments and the approval of the AFR. So you will see the approval for the budget as item number 3 under new business later in the meeting.
Okay.
So you're going to just move to public comment or general public comment, right?
Okay, because we have some amendments to the budget, we're going to have the vote on it under new business. That's where we're going with it. Okay, so we're going into general public comment. Okay, thank you for guidance. And I'm going to return the gavel to our distinguished vice chair and open it up for public comment.
Okay, well, I'm just gonna read our typical spiel for public comment. Public comment is non-open forum to discuss matters unrelated to education, to support or oppose candidates for public office, or to engage in commercial speech attempting to sell a service or product to the school board or public. Also, public comment is not an open forum to attack individual school system employees or board members. Any such complaints should be submitted in writing to the superintendent for appropriate handling. Finally, this is not a forum for addressing issues involving individual students. Because of privacy concerns, such issues should be submitted in writing to the superintendent for appropriate handling. Each speaker is allowed 3 minutes to address the board. Speakers must stand at the podium and not approach the dais. If a speaker has a handout to present to the board, those must be given to the agency clerk for distribution. This is a business meeting of the school board, and the public expects that we conduct it in an orderly, efficient, effective, and dignified manner. We request that speakers keep this in mind when making your comments. We also request that the audience keep that in mind and not demonstrate approval or disapproval of what a speaker has said by clapping or booing. The board appreciates the public's input and will listen attentively, consider each comment, and usually will not respond, enter into debate, or answer questions during comments on agenda items or during the public comment section. And with that, I'm going to go down my list, and if you had signed up and then you spoke on the budget item and choose not to speak again, you can just let me know that, because I think there's some people that are signed up that came forward earlier, and if you want to speak twice, you are more than welcome to do that as well. Mr. Nelson, come on down, and after Mr. Nelson will be Tracy McHugh.
I was working on till the last minute because of the changes. I'm Norm Nelson again. And what I'm doing again is give you half of your sheet, of your budget sheet, and half of mine. So all my numbers are on your sheets, And I'm looking especially where you transfer money. You're telling me we're gonna spend 775,375,435, 435, and I saw you're gonna spend, you're authorizing 727,454, 590. And it all looks back on the pink sheet, and they're all of them. You got 5 of them. 5 years, and you got the included pages. If you look at under capital projects, you got 174 million plus dollars for income. Now through this whole course thing, you keep telling us you're going to transfer money. And you transfer, there it is, right there in the red or the pink, whatever you want to call it. $18 million goes to the general, 29 million to the debt service. That amounts to what? Transfer the funds out of there, $45 million, $47,920,000. You don't have that. You don't have that. You created that. You created the 47 million. Because if you look in the red with the 2 blue arrows, that capital project amount is still 174 million. You didn't transfer anything. And if you look back at the 5 years, they all show the same things. One of the things back, if you look at the years where you have the CAFR, you'll see that the CAFR doesn't count it either. You don't count it. But during the budgeting process, you put forward $47 million out of the air. Out of the air. It's not there. It's not there. So you say you're going to spend all that money. You don't have that money to spend. That's a lie. That's a lie. So either all these document sheets that it's quoting, you go to those sheets, they tell you one thing you're going to spend for this, then you're going to transfer, and you don't change that. Where do you get the money? You're not spending the money and not telling us about it. All you do is bring it in. 775 million, and we only have 727. You count money twice. That's the only way you can get that. You count money twice. And that's what you want to teach your kids? There's 5 years. On my next 3 minutes I get, I'll show you what you do. That when you count that up after 5 years, that's a hell of a lot of money that you're lying about. Thank you.
Tracy McHugh. And after Tracy, D. Ralph.
Hi. Do I just start? Oh, okay. I wanted to talk about how I feel Florida, and in particular Manatee County, is failing our teachers, our parents, and most importantly, our students. iReady is not a one-size-fits-all solution. In fact, it isn't a very good solution at all. There cannot be one test given to every student in the county that can provide clear answers and solutions to every solution. That is why the statute is written as, any student in kindergarten through grade 3 who exhibits a substantial deficiency in reading based upon screening diagnostic, progress monitoring, or assessment data, statewide assessments, or teacher observation must be provided. The key words in the statute are or. We cannot argue this tool is a good fit for everyone. This is why the or is so important. When a child has a notable special need like autism, dyslexia, hearing impairment, or something else, it isn't common sense to consider an alternative solution considerations. Parents should be able to be a part of their child's team. We should be able to decide which way our children will be better assessed. We should have an avenue for options when it is clear that an assessment method will not properly evaluate a child. If you have a child in an ESE classroom, it can be assumed that they have learning differences. Having them take a standard test produced for neurotypical children is not an answer. It makes no sense to have a teacher evaluate the child or use some other, or it makes sense to have a teacher evaluate the child or use some other method other than iReady. Parents know their children best. We must have a voice in our children's development and education. Children with developmental delays and cognitive disabilities who cannot comprehend the test to start with, being forced to do this test, fail miserably. They will learn one lesson from that exercise, that they are a failure at 5 years old. It will also tell us that our teachers are not effective teachers, which is also untrue. They are. They are working with children who have learning differences and teaching them the way they learn. You're forcing us to take the teacher out of teaching. This past week, principals have put our teachers in a position to force our children to take assessments against their will. I think this is at best dirty and underhanded, and at worst criminal. Let parents and teachers decide what's appropriate for their students. Thank you.
Thank you.
D. Ralph, and after D will be Rachel Zion.
Hi, good evening. My name is Dee Ralph, and I'm the principal of Just for Girls Middle. For over 25 years, the Manatee County School Board has partnered with Just for Girls to provide this alternative education program. Our mission at Just for Girls is to provide the framework within which girls can aspire to more successful lifestyles, seek a better education, secure meaningful, financial, equitable employment, and become responsible, caring members of society. Our vision is a community where today's young girls grow up feeling safe, capable, smart, having developed self-respect and self-confidence so they can keep their bodies healthy and are inspired to achieve academically. Reaching one girl at a time, we will break the cycles of poverty and failure among girls and women and strengthen our families, neighborhoods, and communities. Just for Girls Middle provides a positive educational environment for students in 6th through 8th grade. All staff members are highly qualified educators who understand and appreciate diversity and the individual needs of their students. All the staff at Just for Girls are committed to building positive relationships and rapport with their students. Just for Girls provides many intervention strategies to improve the academic performance. Interventions include tutoring with retired educators, small group instruction, a school-wide behavior management plan, de-escalation strategies, field trip incentives, computer-based interventions, behavior, attendance contracts, hands-on learning, positive reinforcements for academic achievement, and data-driven instruction. Family involvement plays an integral part of each girl's education. Parents are involved in setting short and long-term educational goals. Parent meetings have focused on literacy, financial literacy, technology training, and health education. In the 25 years I've been at Just for Girls, I've been able to see firsthand how one person can make a difference. One teacher, one counselor, one social worker, heck, even one principal, I guess. We can all help a girl feel safe and respected before, during, and after school. Just for Girls has an extremely dedicated staff that works tirelessly to help each student succeed. I want to thank all of you for your continued support of our program. You are literally changing lives. On behalf of every girl, every parent, every guardian, thank you. Thank you for making a difference in our community.
Rachel Zion. And after Rachel, Mr. Gibellina.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Rachel Zion. I'm a teacher at Just for Girls Middle School. I've been there over the last 10 years. I've taught in Chicago schools. The gray hair is real. I've taught over 40 years. I've taught co-ed. I've taught private school, parochial schools, public schools, and I'm at Just for Girls with Just Girls. The school there does a remarkable job of taking girls that are insecure in regular school, whether they've been bullied, worrying about being a teenager, changing mentally, physically, being insecure, and we take them and we care about them. And we also become almost another family to them. We have whole group, small group, and even one-on-one. When we see a child needs that help, we get them the tutor they need. Today we've had some wonderful aha moments. And being a smaller school where the class size is small, we can do that where these girls might be lost in a regular full-size classroom. It makes a difference to have a teacher sit with you one-on-one. It makes a difference to teach them that their opinion matters, because a lot of them growing up, they're just in that number, and it doesn't matter. To them, what happens in classroom does. Not only do they work as individuals, but they help each other, and that's a major growth step. It helps them develop socially, It helps them develop mentally, and we do what we can to make them the citizens that we are all going to need to rely on in the future. They are our future, and the sooner we can accept that and give them the support they need, the better it is for all of us. Just for Girls Middle School and the elementary work with these girls to provide them that future. They become secure. They become self-advocating. They learn that what they say and what they think matters, and that should matter to all of us. Thank you for your continued support.
Thank you.
Mr. Gibolina, come on down, and after Mr. Gibolina will be Dwayne Dennison.
Okay, for the record, Glenn Gibolina, community activist, affordable housing advocate. As you know, I was in Orlando for the 3-day meeting for the affordable housing, 900 strong. Some of the forums were about homeless students. I went to most of them that I could, and there are funds out there for homeless students for housing. And I didn't see anybody from the board there. I would hope that next year you would join this coalition. It's a great organization. There are federal funds out there. At the very least, I think someone from HART should have been there. If not, certainly somebody from the school board. We did have County Commissioner Reggie Bellamy there, along with Denise Thomas. So hopefully we can do that. So on affordable housing, you know, the county, every house that is built in Manatee County has to pay impact fees. I get that. The county has a sliding scale, so the bigger the house, the more you pay. Pretty simple. I agree with that. You're going to live in a mega mansion, your impact fees should be more. You're going to live in an affordable house, they should be less. In this district, and by the way, I sent each and every one of you one of these on an email, along with this. Here's the problem I have. Every house, regardless of size, gets hammered for $6,127. It doesn't matter if it's a mega mansion from McNeil or Habitat House or any housing developer that gets there. So when the cost is higher on an affordable house in no sliding scale, it's not fair. I would propose a solution that you either eliminate the impact fees for any affordable house that is built in this county. It would be a great help to the small developers. At the very least, have a sliding scale so we're not paying the same as a $3 million house. It's not fair. Our profits are less. Everything is less on an affordable house. The other solution is that you put in some funds. So let's put in $67,127. That's 10 houses. Put it in a separate silo and say, okay, any small-time developer that wants to build affordable house for our community, we're going to pay those funds. You got the money, you can do it. Manatee County does it. They have a separate silo. They cut you a check. Unfortunately, the city of Bradenton is not in that financial strength. So they wanted their, I was at a meeting today, 24 HUD apartments going up. He has to pay $27,000 in impact fees to the school district. I want to build houses in the city of Bradenton. I got to pay this? We can do better. We should do better.
Dwayne Dennison? Sandra Holly? Okay. Drina Green? And after Drina Green, Melissa Williams.
Good evening. My name is Drina Green, and I'm the program administrator for Just for Girls, and who you have heard has been providing services to the girls of Manatee County for 50 years. They have been committed to doing so then and remain fully committed to doing so now. As you've heard from Dee and some of the other speakers, we have a simple 1, 2, 3 structure. 1 mission, 2 alternative education programs, and 3 out-of-school time learning centers. GFG serves an elevated risk population. 100% are eligible for free and reduced lunch. 56% are from single-parent, female-led households. 69% of those households earn less than $20,000 a year. This economic disadvantage places them at a risk for normal childhood development and can and most likely will present other risks, both academically, physically, socially, emotionally, and mentally. JFG's holistic and balanced approach to countering these risks and aiding in youth success hinges on both of our ability to educate as well as empower. So we use the basic back to basics ABC prevention program, academics you've heard, behavior, ABC, behavior, behaviorally and character focus, daily behavior expectations and character education that focus on developing behaviors in 5 core areas, such as respect, responsibility, compassion, belief in self, and commitment. For reasons outside of their control and often related to their elevated risk factors, many of our students have either experienced or been exposed to trauma. Trauma is defined as a deeply distressing or disturbing experience. No one, regardless of economic status, is immune to the impact of trauma. Trauma affects the individual, families, and communities, and can disrupt healthy development, adversely affecting relationships and contributing to mental health issues that lead to substance abuse, domestic violence, and child abuse. Everyone pays the price when a community produces multi-generations of people with untreated trauma. In support of the current Handle with Care and the trauma-informed communities, JFG additionally offers Rainbows for All Children through weekly support sessions, and whose focus is designed for the specific need of both selective and indicative groups. Within the 1-2-3 service structure and back to basics ABC prevention program approach, JFG often emerges as a practical community resource that can confidently address community needs. So when you think of JFG, think of 1-2-3 and ABC. Thank you for your support.
Thank you. Mylissa Williams. And Marlene Woodson, I think I saw her leave. Yeah. Kristen Volmer. And after Kristen, Valerie Cobb Brown.
Good evening, Superintendent Saunders, Chairman Minor, and the rest of the board members. My name is Kristen Vollmer, and I'm actually the principal of Just for Girls Elementary. I'm often asked what makes Just for Girls different. Compared to everybody else, why would somebody want to come to us? We have many differences. We are gender specific. Obviously, we know that because we're girls. But we focus on girls becoming confident leaders. We are small, but not just class size, small. Our school size is small. That allows us for individualized attention for all of our students. We are academically focused and understand the gap we need to fill for our 100% at-risk population. Our highly qualified teachers strive to provide a data-driven, standards-based education and coordinate wraparound programming with our out-of-school services so that the students can be successful and make the necessary progress. We work on supporting and educating not only the girls, but also the families. Our parents know they can drop in any time and receive help, get contact information, and support for their needs. And we know that hungry children have difficulties performing and learning. So on the second Saturday of every month, the school volunteers to distribute boxes of food to the surrounding community. You may be familiar with the works of Carol Dweck in Growth Mindset. We, as a staff, are truly working on helping our girls embrace a growth mindset to change what they are experiencing. And we are, as the words of Carol Dweck, we're also working on our grit. Our grit meaning that we have the guts to do what is right, to take risks, to work hard, the resilience to be persistent, take ownership, and be reflective, the integrity to be honest, kind, and open to new ideas, and the tenacity to be forward-thinking and determined. Just for Girls focuses on what makes each girl and every girl different and teaches them to embrace it and become empowered by it. So we are fortunate to be a part of Manatee County. and we thank you so much for supporting our girls.
Valerie Cobb Brown. And after Valerie, Kalila Cobb. After Valerie.
I'm actually Kristen Olson, standing in for the parents that just had to leave.
I'm sorry?
I'm standing in for Valerie Cobb. She just had to leave.
Okay.
I'm reading her letter.
Can you say your name for the record?
Kristen Olson. My daughters have attended JFG since kindergarten, and they are now in 5th grade. Just for Girls Elementary is not only a school, it is a community, a village. It takes a village to raise a child. That saying is so true, however, not every mother has a village. I was a single mother when my twins, Jaleesa and Jalea, started going to Just for Girls Elementary. They started off at a different school, and Jaleesa was having a hard time with the transition to kindergarten and was constantly acting out. She was in a classroom of about 25 students with a teacher fresh out of college and separated from her twin sister for the first time. They kept sending her home and wanted me to medicate her, which I was not okay with. When the school told me that Jaleesa could not come back anymore, I was devastated and unsure of the next step as I work full-time and the school that was in my zone was not convenient. So I called Just for Girls and spoke with Mrs. Jackson, who is an angel, by the way. From our first conversation until today, she goes above and beyond to make sure that my girls are taken care of physically and emotionally. Mrs. Jackson assured me that she would wait at the school for me to give me a tour and talk about enrolling the girls. I'll never forget that day. It was pouring rain, and she waited until 6:30 for me to get there. The school has worked with my children and for me now for 5 years. I honestly don't know how I could have done it without them. Then in 2015, I was not only a single mom, but a single mom with colon cancer, having a last-minute surgery and chemotherapy for 6 months. Mrs. Jackson kept close tabs on me and made sure we had everything we needed. There are so many resources available to the parents at Just for Girls that we have no reason not to succeed. From free before and after care, run by the amazing Miss Gale, who I cannot say enough great things about. She is another big part of who my girls are today. To counseling services, parenting classes, etc. And the girls attend yoga, ballet, karate, music. They garden, have educational field trips, visits from Marine, and they go shopping for their families at Christmas time. Did I mention all of this is free for the families? I cannot say enough good things about the school, and I'm really sad that it is my girls' last year there, but also happy that so many girls get the chance to attend the school and have a village also. JFG is a very special place in my heart, and I will forever be grateful to Becky, Susan Jackson, and Miss Gale for all they have done. This world is a better place because of them. Thank you, Superintendent Saunders, Chairman Minor, and school board members for making this program possible. Please continue to provide the support needed going forward. Sincerely, Christy Saunders.
Thank you. Kalia Cobb, or was that part of the same family? Okay, Carol Grogan. After Carol, Sarah Klopfeisch.
Carol Grogan, educator. Good evening, Superintendent Saunders, Chairman Minor, board members. Everyone in this room are members of an invaluable community, a community that knows and understands that it truly does take a village. A community that, despite of the added demands placed on our own families emotionally and financially, we wouldn't want to be anywhere else. We understand the value in our numbers and respect with honor the commitment to serve and pay it forward. We all come together this evening with shared interests and unique skill sets, reliant and dependent on each other to best meet the needs of the Manatee County learning community. I was a public school educator for well over 20 years. When I heard about Just for Girls, entrenched for decades in the well-oiled machine a public school provides almost effortlessly, I had no real concept of what working for a nonprofit as an educator meant, so I explored. I learned Just for Girls served Manatee County girls and families in crisis for many, many years, with continued success. Impressed, I reached out to Principal Kristen Vollmer. After clearly noting the passion and dedication in her voice, with the space to share my own, I was fortunate enough to be invited to meet the staff and girls who attended prior to a commitment on either side. I also quickly learned my vast experience as a successful public school educator wasn't going to cut it. The Just for Girls community needed to select a candidate who shared their commitment not only to educate well, but who could meet the emotional needs and demands our fragile population deserved. A candidate who not only was expected to meet the high expectations all highly qualified teachers must reach, but who also would be required to put their money where their heart was and go that extra mile each and every day to support the emotional safety and well-being of our select population that they could not move forward without. So, with great admiration and gratitude as an educator and a Manatee County parent, I thank you all for your service. I appreciate your time, hard work, dedication, and heart. Thank you for allowing Just for Girls to continue to serve Manatee County School System as valued community members.
Sarah? And after Sarah, this one, Faja. Got it. Thank you.
My name is Sarah Klopfleisch. My second grade students call me Miss K. Nice to meet you, Chairman and Superintendent. I'll make this quick. It's been a very long day. I am here not only representing Just for Girls Elementary, the staff, the community, but mainly as the voice of my beloved students. We provide an alternative to a regular public school and are able to provide services to not only the girls, but also to their families. Although our students are not only a marginalized part of the community, they also have strengths unparalleled in any other school I've worked in. I have seen firsthand the potential our students possess and fully understand the support and commitment they rely on to succeed. Being able to learn in an emotionally supportive, gender-specific classroom setting is an opportunity I pride myself in providing for these young female scholars. Thank you.
Faja, come on down. And after that will be Susan Jackson.
Hello, my name is Faja Baptiste, and I went to Just for Girls when I was in 5th grade after moving from New York. And it was really helpful to be in smaller classrooms because having a one-on-one with a teacher, no matter what it was, personal or academic, it always helped me. And everyone at Just for Girls, all the staff, they always find a way to help you no matter what they're helping you with. And Ms. Jackson has always tried to help every student in their individual ways, learn their personalities, and she always finds a way to help you and your family no matter what you're going through. They always discipline us, and not too harsh, but they're not being easy on us. They always push us to be our best and confident young ladies. And going to Just for Girls really helped me, not only as going to high school and middle school, but it helped me just in life in general on how to treat other people and how to push myself to be the best I can be. And everything that they do outside of school and school, field trips, electives, or like we took yoga, ballet, PE, everything, STEM. it always helps us and it's fun as well. And thank you for your time.
Thank you. Susan Jackson. And after Susan Jackson, Betty Rhodes.
Hi. I'm here to read a letter for Antoinette Goggins. This is about her daughter at the middle school. I would personally like to thank the school board and the staff at Just for Girls for the alternative opportunity for my daughter, Heaven. Just for Girls has made a big difference in my daughter's life. In elementary school, Heaven did not do so well. In fact, she barely passed 5th grade. The summer of 2018, I was worried how she would do in a regular middle school setting, and academically, I knew she was not ready. I learned about Just for Girls Middle through a brochure that was mailed to me, and after meeting with staff, I knew she would fit in, but I was reluctant on how it would be for her to attend an all-girls school. After completing her first 2 semesters at JFG Middle, I knew I had made the best decision for her. I was so proud of her. She was on track, her attitude was improving, and I was shocked to see that she was bringing home A's and B's. She became confident in herself and her schoolwork. With the daily, weekly behavioral and academic report, it was easy to stay on top of her if she was falling behind. Any concerns I have are always addressed immediately. Heaven is in a classroom setting where she is not embarrassed to ask for help. Whereas in elementary school, she was laughed at for needing help, which made her fall behind because she would not ask questions even when she was struggling. As a mother, I am happy with the environment she is in. JFG has less distractions than bigger middle schools, a smaller classroom that allows her to be around peers who are just like her, one-on-one attention from staff, attentive staff who actually care about my daughter's personal and academic needs, and counseling when she feels she can't open up to me. This is Heaven's 2nd year, and she will definitely be returning for her 8th year. Honestly, I wish there was a high school because she would definitely be attending 4 years of JFG High School. Thank you again for giving my daughter the opportunity to advance and have the same chances as every other kid in this country. Thank you, Superintendent Saunders.
Thank you.
Chairman Minor, and the board members.
Betty Rhodes. And after Betty Rhodes, Bridget Mendel.
My name is Betty Sales Rhodes, and this for everybody up here. Here in Manatee County, there have been so many things that held us down, and that's the color of our skin, and that's being black. But now things finally coming around. Listen real good. We are not going to let nothing hold us back. We are LMA, just like the rest who's fighting just like me, and we on the move. We refuse to be held down anymore. Please listen to every word I say. Ain't nothing stopping us. We stronger, we wiser, and we refuse to sit down. Now, I like this about Martin Luther King. I always did when I was in school with the kids, telling my kids, if you can't fly, then run. If you can't run, then walk. If you can't walk, then crawl. But whatever, LMA will keep moving forward. Now, I leave this with all of you all sitting up here, the board members. What have you done for other north of the river? Nothing. That's for Parramatta High School. That's for Lincoln LMA, for Blackburn. What have you did? Nothing. And it sad me when I look at the kids, no positive look on their face. You all have destroyed this school in 1 month. And nobody went out there to take the kids in the gym to explain to them what's going on. Nobody. And you know what? You can listen to it. We're not going to stop. We'll take it all the way to Washington, D.C. because you destroyed our school by doing this. And you shouldn't have did it in the first beginning. because every charter school here, and I don't look it up, don't have financial difficulty. And what you are saying in the paper is untrue. A lot of people who sitting in here, you should have went to the appeal committee, and you would have heard where they caught them in a bunch of lies. So what I'm saying, we're gonna fight. We're gonna take it all the way we have to Washington D.C. because you all destroyed our school, and it is a black school, and we're gonna keep it in a black neighborhood. And it's gonna be LMA. I don't care which way the wind blow. If it's something I'm fighting for, and I'm fighting for it hard. If I would have pushed back, but what y'all did it wrong. Y'all have a nice day.
Bridget Mendel, and after Bridget Mendel, Keenan Wooten.
Hi, I'd like to discuss the student progression plan, page 52, acceleration and enrichment. It appears as though that actual section is a violation of the statutes 1002.0.20 part 6. It comes under educational choice. Public education school choices. Parents of public school students may seek any public educational school choice options that are applicable and available to students throughout the state. These options may include open enrollment, single-gender programs, lab schools, virtual instruction. I'm going to skip through a few because here's the one that's very important that we've restricted. Advanced placement classes, international baccalaureate programs, pre-ACE programs, and the Advanced International Certificate of Education, the ACE program. It basically states that these options are a part of the educational public choice that we are allowed per this statute. I checked with Sarasota County. They do not have test scores, and it came up that homeschool students must come to us with a test score to be an IB, AP, or ACE, and that is also a violation of Florida statute. Homeschool, and we went through this in the student progression plan the very first year out of the box. We worked on it with us. You heard from homeschool attorneys from Tallahassee, and you heard from parents here stating that you cannot require by law. They can have a transcript. They do not need a test score. So holding us accountable the same as homeschool parents is not even a law. In addition, we brought up the VAM issue. To hold children, we have some principals in the county who say, we don't use VAM here in Manatee County, but clearly y'all do because you mentioned it. And to hold a child from a public education choice that they are allowed by statute because of teacher VAM is not appropriate, and you cannot supersede state statute. In addition, I don't know how the workshop worked out, but you are also in violation in regard to restricting the number of voting members that we can have on our committees. I don't know how that wrapped up, but I did hear from the state. I went all the way up through Tallahassee to the commissioner, and as well as the legal department. And you are in violation of state statute 1001.452. The program coordinator from School Improvement, Katie Young, did respond, and she said that because Article 9, Section 4, the Florida Constitution, you do have the authority to operate, control, and supervise the public schools within the district. It does not state that you have the ability to control a parent SAC committee. In addition, it does say, Section 1001.20 Florida statute, the department does have limited jurisdiction to investigate allegations in regard to waste, fraud, or financial mismanagement, but only in an instance where you all are not willing to do so. I don't know of any SACs that are fraudulent, wasteful in any way, shape, or form. I did hear back from the district. I was told that our SACs have to be controlled because they are unruly and too large.
Thank you.
And difficult to manage.
Thank you. Keenan Wooten, and after Keenan Wooten, Rodney Jones.
Okay, Keenan Wooten here, Athletic Director, Student Support Specialist, Elite Middle. I'm back again. I want to thank you all for listening to me last time as I talked about being an athletic director on the middle school level and how underpaid we are. I said we make $43 a check, but I was looking at my pay stub yesterday and it's actually $43, and I looked at my pay stub and it was $41.67. So that's actually less. I want to thank Mr. Kennedy for inviting me for a seat to negotiate and give our opinion next time we do that, and I want to thank you for that. as we go forward. We're in cross country right now in middle school, and we're starting practice today. And we have a district meet at October 5th at GT Bray. I want to see all of you there. And then we have another district meet October 19th. And I'll send you an email, 9 a.m. And I would love to see at the end of the finish line, school board members giving high fives to those middle school kids. We'll appreciate that. Another pressing subject, I'm proud of the strides and the diversity that this school district has made in hiring African American administrators, naming schools after them, and football coaches and basketball coaches as well. And it's been amazing. I was at Mona, I was at Harvey's Elementary opening, and I just want to applaud us for that. But in athletics, as an athletic director, it's not so much there. There's not so much, especially on the high school level. So I asked this question: what is the pathway to become a high school athletic director in this district? I was talking to Mr. Montgomery the other day, and we were kind of scratching our head looking at that. What's that pathway? To learn about eligibility, to learn about C2C schools, to learn about fundraising, and just learn the day-to-day. We definitely need that. We're running about, 75, 80-something% minority athletes in this district. But we don't see that on the athletic director on the high school level. So I challenge us to come up with a feeder system for that. As athletic director on the middle school level, do I just go volunteer at a high school to try to learn that, or do I just stand around and try to get hired on the high school level? So that's a big opportunity we have, and I think we can do it. I think we can do that. Also, Just for Girls, I live in Ward 5, the city of Bradenton. It's Just for Girls right there. So we're the most bused district in this city, and we really need that school. So thank you for your time.
Thank you. Rodney Jones, and after Rodney Jones, Julie Mayer.
I'm speaking as an organization, so do I get my 5 minutes, or how does that work?
Did you sign up?
Yeah, I filled out a card.
What organization?
Answer Suncoast. I'm not affiliated with the NAACP, but I had other affiliations besides that one.
Did you sign up with them as
Yeah,
a
I did.
group?
Somebody has my card, yes.
Card's right here. Does it have a group?
You'll see it on there at the bottom, well, in that line.
5:30, he signed up with this card that does have a group listed.
Okay. Is that okay with the board?
What's the group? What is the name of the group?
It's the Answer Coalition.
Answer Suncoast.
Answer Suncoast, sorry.
And Answer Suncoast.
Go for it.
All right, thank you. Board members and staff.
Do you have a position on Answer Suncoast, sir?
That has nothing to do with me being here, sir. I don't even understand why you're asking me that. You've never asked anybody else that when they came up here for an organization, but here again we go with the harassment of Rodney Jones.
You're special. Do you have a position?
I'm not responding to that. Now, you have lawyers here, attorneys here. You tell them to tell me that I can't speak, and I'll go sit down and we'll handle it later.
Let's just.
Jesus Christ, man. I get sick of this crap every time I come up here. Extra vetting for Rodney Jones.
Okay. I'm going to ask our counsel. We have someone who represents himself as speaking on behalf of an organization. We don't know if he's an officer or was voted to speak for him, but I think we can let him to go ahead and speak. Would that be all right?
That's really up to the board. I don't see any objection to it, though.
Okay. No objection? Okay. Go ahead.
I'd like for him to have his time started over.
Sure.
Thank you, Reverend Golden. And thank you, Mr. Watchdog, for being the watchdog. I'm here to talk again about Lincoln Memorial Academy. I definitely resonate with Ms. Rhodes' sentiments and some of the comments that you'll hear from others. The fact that this we want to call it an illegal takeover, has conjured such a mess. I mean, such a huge split, a huge breach of trust with the black and brown communities and some of the lower socioeconomic communities. That would speak to a failure. That would speak to the way you went about it was absolutely incorrect. It showed zero knowledge of cultural competence or understanding of that community when that school would be taken in such a manner. And it speaks to a level of what I continue to say is a level of incompetence. I can't say anything about the personal people. I do not know them, but I do understand incompetence. And what we have is a very, an extremely catastrophic fail here that now has exhausted a lot of staff time. And at some point also, I would hope that the district would ask about what is the financial cost of this takeover so far, because it's proven to be very expensive. You know, what we're spending on attorneys to defend bad practice, what we're spending on just everything to defend bad practice is not the district. It should not be a taxpayer responsibility to spend to correct incompetence or to cover for incompetence. We spent $80,000 on an audit that didn't prove embezzlement or fraud or wire, whatever we were supposed to find. So we're spending a lot of money, and the staff are now starting to complain about all the internal work that is taking to advance this defense of a decision that was made only by, it appears to be 3 people initially, because the other 2 board members appeared not to know anything about it. So we're concerned about that. Now, the immediate subject today is the safety, well-being, and mental health of those kids over there. And I'm glad Just for Girls is here, and I know Becky, and I know many of the people that spoke there, and I'm glad they're here because they talked about trauma. And with the excess law enforcement that was there, with the police law enforcement coming out and saying there was no threats on any school in Manatee County during the time period that Lincoln was locked down several times, law enforcement officers on campus with drawn guns, children crying in classrooms, staff members claiming that they were even afraid to pick up their cell phones because we've seen black people shot and people of color shot for using their cell phone or having a cell phone in their hand. Children actually running out to their cars crying to their moms. And so I'm still not understanding, I see Reverend Golden has eased off, but I'm still understanding why we haven't had some real formal mental health assessment of those kids. I'm not understanding that. We just talked about the impact of trauma and the gun violence that we see all over this country, and not one concerted effort has been gone in there to assess the mental health of those kids. And I think it's intentionally done because we don't want to document those stories. So we're expecting you to react to something, and I'm not sure, maybe Brother Dye can answer this, but as elected officials, do you have a statutory responsibility to report child abuse or suspected child abuse or terror on children or people abusing children? And we feel that was absolutely abuse of power that went on to deliberately intimidate those kids, to keep those kids from exercising their First Amendment right. You know, I mentioned that Reverend Golden, he eased out on us, but he's on the board of formerly Manatee Glens and Centerstone. You know, I've talked with several licensed clinicians this week, and they said there should have been an immediate response from the district. So here again, I'm pleading for you to do some form of response, get some form of mental health assessment on those kids, and then report back to the community, because I guarantee you some of those kids have been traumatized because of the images that we see every day as black people and people in this country of how black people are done as it relates to law enforcement. So I'm still not understanding why we haven't moved to make that happen, and it's all going to be a testament to you. So, Mr. Dye, I don't know if you can answer, speak back, but do elected officials have a statutory responsibility to report suspected child abuse or neglect or terror on a child, or do they have that responsibility? Because if you do, maybe you won't answer, if you do, all of you guys are in violation. You're in violation of the law. I called the Office of Inspector General's office on Department of Education on yesterday. And actually one of their investigators, when I reminded her of her statutory responsibility to report, she called it in to DCF at the state level. You guys should have been the same thing, because you had the information. It has been delivered here. It has been delivered by numerous people, and you have failed to act. You have failed to act. So here again, it's incompetence or corruption. I'm not sure. Either way, it hurts children.
Julie Meyer, sorry. Come on down.
I'm Julie Meyer, and I moved to Florida 1 year and 4 months ago, and I missed this meeting last year. When I got this proposed tax bill in the mail. And so I'm here tonight about the one I just got in the mail. And I gotta say, I lived in another state for 57 years. I was a homeowner for 10 years. And I'm shocked at the taxes for the schools here compared to what I paid in the last state I lived in, and paid property taxes for 10 years. And I don't understand yet how your homestead works, but as a single person, in 7 years I'll be 65, and in my neighborhood there's 36 homeowners. Half of them are age 30 to 40, the other half are 50 to 80. And since I moved there, already like 5 people older than me feel like they've been forced to move out because of the property taxes in this county. And I'd like to know why the school taxes are so high, and why, they're gonna jump another $200 or $300 from last year. Where is the money being spent? Is it being spent on mental health or for kids with learning disabilities? I don't know anything about your schools here. All I know is from my, prior state. But I don't understand why they built a new school on a Moccasin Willow when they didn't even widen the roads. I spent 5 years in public school, and 8 years in private in another state, and 4 years in public college. And I'd like to know why, and also if the Florida Lotto here gives money to the schools here. I'm just shocked that, between last year's taxes, which my real estate lady lied to me about, by about $1,500, they're gonna jump another $500 or $600. And, I would like to stay here in the next 7 to 10 or 20 years, but at the rate the taxes are going, I don't know how the money's being spent in this county, but I don't want to feel I need to be forced out like my married neighbors with 2 incomes, and I'm only 1 income, because of the school board taxes and all the other county taxes. And so that's what I came to say. So if somebody can explain that to me.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And that concludes public comment.
I think we move on to new business. Correct me if I'm wrong. Minutes, I'm sorry, okay. Okay, does the superintendent have a recommendation concerning the minutes?
Yes, I recommend the approval of the minutes from the August 27th, 2019 workshop and regular meeting and public hearing.
So moved. Second.
Okay, the superintendent's recommendation has been moved by Board Member Hopes and seconded by Board Member Kennedy. Is there discussion? The chair hearing none, the chair will call the question. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. And those opposed indicate by saying nay. Hearing none, it passes 5-0 unanimously. The next item for consideration is consent items.
Mr. Chair.
Yes, Board Member Golden.
Yes, I would like to move item number 5 from the consent agenda to have discussion about that.
I'll second it.
Okay, there's been a motion. I need a little guidance from council here.
Make a motion.
We had already approved an agenda.
Yes. That's true. You can, the easiest thing would be to move to approve the consent agenda, then amend that motion to remove the item. And then if that motion to amend is approved, it takes it off the consent agenda and takes it down to new business removed from consent.
I'm sorry, I was premature in my request. I apologize.
Okay, well, we'll do it one thing at a time. I understood that there had been a motion, I believe by Board Member Kennedy, to approve.
The superintendent needs to recommend the.
Well, I thought she did.
No, he's telling me I need to do that first. I never got to that.
Okay.
Let the superintendent go.
Okay, does the superintendent have a recommendation concerning
I
consent
guess I
agenda?
need to withdraw my motion because it
No,
was seconded.
your motion didn't even.
Okay.
I'll withdraw the second, we're good.
Okay, so we got a clean slate, and we're going back to the superintendent. Does the superintendent have a recommendation?
Yes, I recommend the approval of the consent agenda for September 10th, 2019.
So moved.
I'll second.
Okay, it's been moved by Board Member Hopes and seconded by Vice Chair Messenger to approve the superintendent's recommendation. Okay, now,
Now, I'd like to amend, I'd like to amend that motion to exclude item number 5 from the consent agenda. Okay.
okay, we have a new motion here to remove from the consent agenda the item number 5, from the consent agenda, and it's been seconded that was by Board Member Golden, and seconded by Board Member Kennedy. The item reads approval to submit the UNICEF budget request for Lincoln Memorial Academy in the amount of $255,502.50. Now, I understand that from that motion, you'd like to have that placed in
New business.
under new business consent items.
That's correct.
Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Pulled from consent.
Pulled from consent.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Is there any further discussion about that? Okay, the chair hearing none, the chair will call the question to approve the superintendent's recommendation.
The amendment to the super.
The amendment to the motion to approve the consent agenda. Okay, all those in favor of approving that amendment, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, nay. Reverend Golden's, Board Member Golden's motion is approved 5-0. Okay, as amended, we have a motion to approve the consent agenda, and it has been seconded. Is there any further discussion? The chair hearing no further discussion, the chair will call the question. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed indicate by nay. The motion is approved 5-0 unanimously. Okay, now, I think we now go to new business items pulled from consent. Correct me if I'm wrong here, folks. Okay. And I believe the only item that is new business pulled from consent is what Board Member Golden just.
There's one more.
Okay. What about approval of the HR board materials? Is that?
Yes.
Okay, so Board Member Golden's motion is placed at number 2 in the new business items pulled from consent. So we'll take them one first. Approval of the HR board material, September 10th, 2019. Does the superintendent have a recommendation?
Yes, I recommend approval of the appointments, change of assignments, promotions, reappointments, reassignments, resignations, retirements, suspensions, terminations, and transfers.
Okay, we have a recommendation from the superintendent. Is there a motion to approve?
So
Okay, it's been moved by Vice Chair Messenger. It's been seconded by Board Member Kennedy. Is there discussion?
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, the chair recognizes Board Member Copes for discussion.
This was done a little bit differently than what I anticipated, but I discussed with General Counsel. So I had requested this item to be removed because my stepson is on here for approval to be a bus driver. And normally, he would have been the only item that was pulled, but what I will do is I need to make a public statement that in my vote for this item, I will be voting for all names with the exception of Mr. Zachary Woofter, who is my wife's son, and I'll file the appropriate form. I've done this because even though they're specific on who a relative is, the mere fact that he's lived with me for 18 years and I've treated him like my son, I'm going to treat him like my son for this vote. So I will be voting for all of the HR materials with the exception of Zachary Woofter.
You have a conflict on.
Because I have a conflict.
It sounds
According to the
like
Ethics
the
Commission.
correct way to do it to me, but we'll have the board counsel say, is that permissible to go forward as Board Member Copes wishes to do?
Mr. Chairman, it's proper. The conflict is only with the one individual.
Right.
He's required to vote on the other items because there is no conflict with the other items.
Okay, thank you, counsel and Board Member Copes. Okay, is there any, okay, Board Member Golden.
Attorney Dodd, because we don't have a conflict, we can still vote on everybody.
That's correct. That's correct.
So really, it's two things that we're doing.
Only Dr. Hopes has a conflict with the one individual, with his stepson.
Okay.
Okay, any other comments? Okay. The chair calls the question, and all those in favor of item number 1 of the items pulled from the consent, please cast your vote. And the understanding is that Mr. Hopes is not voting with respect to his stepson.
Zachary Woofter.
Yeah, who he has already named. So all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed indicate by saying nay. It passes unanimously as with that qualification concerning Board Member Hope's son, for which he did not vote. Okay. So then we go to item 2 of the new business pulled from consent, and that item was previously, what number was it? Help me.
5.
Item number 5, which is approval to submit the UNICIG budget request for Lincoln Memorial Academy in the amount of $255,502.50. Now, this came from consent. Does the superintendent have a recommendation concerning this?
Yes, I recommend the approval to submit the UNICIG budget request for Lincoln Memorial Academy in the amount of $255,502.50.
So move.
Okay, it's been moved by Board Member Golden to approve this item. It's been seconded by Vice Chair Messenger. Is there discussion?
I would like to have an explanation of what this is about and why it is before us.
Certainly. This item is on here because Lincoln, due to their academic status, qualified for additional funding.
What was their academic status?
Because of their D rating, they qualified for a grant. The deadline was at the end of July. It had to be submitted. So once the board took action, this had not been submitted yet to the state. So I got our staff together to ensure that they proposed the budget or proposed the grant so that we could get additional funding for them. And what this money allows is you can hire additional staff, you can have additional resources to pay teachers to do extra planning after school, tutoring students after school, pay for additional resources. So $255,000 is a significant amount of money that can improve any school. So we finally reached an agreement with the state of what the staff and the administration at Lincoln wanted to do with what they were allowed, and so it's before you for final approval.
Now, I want to be very clear. Was this an application that was made before the 23rd of July?
No, sir, it was not.
And the deadline for applying for this was the 31st of July.
I believe it was the end of July was the deadline.
What we're about to vote on is something that the superintendent and the staff of this particular school board did to bring $255,000 to Lincoln Memorial Academy. Is that correct? And you did that, how many days is that? I have to count on my fingers because of 8 days?
Yes, sir, we did.
All right. Thank you very much. I think I could support that.
All right, Board Member Kennedy.
Yeah, I think I can support it too. I just have a quick question about the MSID number, this, the 2173 MSID number, is that the?
It's the number that they currently have.
So that's their number now
Lincoln
that,
Memorial Academy.
I guess, okay, so this gets to my question, like, we're under appeal, so could the outcome of the appeal have an effect on the approval of the grant if it's under the LMA MSID number?
No, I spoke to the state and their legal counsel about that, actually, I think it was yesterday, my days are with Frank Pastella, just to make sure that the MSID number was not gonna be a barrier or hinder if anything changed, and they said there was no problem with that.
Any other questions, comments? Okay, all those in favor of approving the motion, of approving the superintendent's recommendation, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. The item passes unanimously, 5-0. Now we get to new business, non-consent items. The item number 1, approval of budget amendments for June 2019. And does the superintendent have a recommendation?
Yes, I recommend the approval of the budget amendments for June 2019.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved by Board Member Kennedy, seconded by Board Member Copes, to approve the superintendent's recommendation of approval of the budget amendments for June 2019. Is there discussion? Okay, Board Member Kennedy is recognized for discussion.
I'm just not quite sure where to put this conversation, but I would like to have an opportunity for the board to talk about the Just for Girls possible budget amendment.
3.
Oh, I'm jumping ahead because as Mr. Gauze alluded to during public comment, it seems like the best way to do this would be to come back with a budget amendment at a later meeting, not try to do this on the fly tonight. I just wanted to make sure we had an opportunity to discuss possibilities.
Okay, this is regarding amendments for June 2018. Is that clear in everybody's mind? Do we have any other comments we want to make? Okay, the chair doesn't see any. So I'll call the question. All those in favor of new business item number 1, approval of budget amendments for June 2019, or for approving the superintendent's recommendation of approval of budget amendments to June 2019, please indicate by saying aye. 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 All those opposed indicate by saying nay. The motion is approved unanimously, 5-0. Next is approval of the annual financial report, the AFR, for the fiscal year ended June 30, 2019. Does the superintendent have a recommendation?
Yes, I recommend the approval of the annual financial report and all official parts thereof for the fiscal year ended June 30th, 2019.
So moved.
Okay.
Second.
The superintendent's recommendation has been moved for approval by Board Member Kennedy. It's been seconded by Board Member Hopes. Is there discussion? The chair hearing no discussion, the chair will call the question. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed indicate by saying nay. It is approved 5-0. Thank you very much. Next item of business is approval of the final budget for 2019-20. Does the superintendent have a recommendation?
Yes, I recommend the board approve the supplemental operating discretionary millage for the fiscal year 2019 through 2020 of .7480.
Okay. I guess there's several items to this, isn't there?
Right, do you want me to go?
Yeah, will you go through?
Down?
I'm looking for direction from staff.
We need to do one vote at a time. So
Okay.
one motion at a time. You do have public comment on the approval of the budget.
Okay, let's,
Do it now. Thank you both.
okay, yeah, could staff come over here and help me out with all of these things?
Okay, you're right here. So she's gonna give you 5 motions. Okay, she's gonna read one, you're gonna vote. She's gonna read another one, you're gonna vote.
Okay. Okay.
There's 6 motions.
Okay, we don't have them here. All right, thank you very much.
This is for public comment. This is from Mr. Nelson. He's signed up to speak on this item.
Last one.
Can we?
Oh, okay. I want clarification from staff. Mr. Nelson signed up for the
Last one.
the last one, okay.
Yes, sir. He signed up to speak. He signed up to speak under this item, the approval of the final budget. And then under this item, we have 7 motions. So he can speak and then we'll do the 7 motions.
Okay. My understanding is that Mr. Nelson has made a request to speak concerning item number 3 under new business. Am I saying that right, folks? And so I think we're going to allow I think the vice chair does such a great job with this that she ought to have the opportunity. Is that the proper protocol for here?
Mr. Chairman, if you're looking for my guidance, you have like 5 items under this one topic, and my understanding is the comment is only directed to the budget. One way to address it would be to go through the other items until you get to the budget vote and then take any further comment at that point.
Okay, thanks. We got the 5 items.
Here's those 2, and then the ones on the back are the ones, she's gonna do this one first.
Okay. Thank you very much. We got a great staff here. Does the superintendent on the item of approval, under approval of the final budget 2019-20, what is the first recommendation of the superintendent?
Okay, I recommend that the board approve the supplemental operating discretionary millage for the fiscal year 2019-2020 of .7480.
So move.
It's been moved by Board Member Golden. Is there a second?
I'll second.
It's been seconded by Vice Chair Messenger. Is there discussion? Board Member or Vice Chair Messenger.
There was public comment tonight about millage. And so I would like to ask our CFO, does the board have control over this millage?
Yes. Well, the board, there's different millages.
This is the first one.
The first one, okay. The discretionary operating millage, yes, the board does have control over that one. The required local effort is the one that the board does not have discretion over.
Okay. I have other questions that were brought up, but I'll wait until we get to those things. Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, is there any other comments or questions concerning the motion that's been seconded to approve the superintendent's recommendation about the operating discretionary millage for the fiscal year 2019-2020? The chair hearing none, the chair will call the question. All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed indicate by saying nay. The motion to approve the superintendent's recommendation passes 5-0. Does the superintendent have another recommendation?
Yes, I recommend that the board approve required local effort millage for the fiscal year 2019 through 2020 of 3.8870 mils.
Okay, is there a motion to approve? Okay, it's been moved by Board Member Kennedy. Is there a second?
I'll second.
It's been seconded by Vice Chair Messenger to approve the superintendent's recommendation. Is there discussion? The chair recognizes Vice Chair Messenger.
Ms. Jenkins, if we don't levy this millage, what's the consequence, the financial consequence to this district?
We do not receive state funding from the Florida Department of Education.
How much is that?
It exactly is, our FEFP revenue is $129,118,467, but it also affects our millage revenue. So all of the state funding is looked at as our total state and local revenue.
Thank you.
Okay, is there any other questions or comments with respect to the superintendent's recommendation to approve the required local effort for millage for fiscal year 2019-2020? The chair hearing none, the chair will call the question. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed indicate by saying nay. The motion passes unanimously 5-0. Thank you very much. Okay, the next item of business is, does the superintendent have another recommendation?
Yes, I recommend that the board approve the capital outlay millage for the fiscal year 2019 through 2020 of 1.5 mils.
So moved.
Okay. Is there? Okay, it's been moved by Board Member Kennedy and seconded by Vice Chair Messenger that we approve the recommendation of the superintendent that we approve the capital outlay millage for the fiscal year 2019-2020 of 1.5000 mils. It's, all those in favor, is there discussion about this? I'm sorry. Board, the chair recognizes Board Member Golden.
In approving this millage, are we also approving the plan that we discussed for our capital plan at the last workshop? Is that?
Separate.
Okay, so that's a separate.
This is the funding, the other's the plan.
Okay, all right. Thank you.
Any other questions? Any discussion? Board Member Holtz.
Just for a comment, Mr. Chairman. You know, as we move forward and towards approval of that capital plan, I really want us, this is another one, if I'm not mistaken, this is a discretionary. The board has discretion with regards to how much of this we levy, correct?
You do.
Okay. So I would really like us to take this year, we're going to approve this millage tonight, but I would really like us to incorporate our capital planning, our strategic capital planning, and look at our total capital funds with regards to impact fees, our bonding requirements, et cetera, so that we come to this next year. I want to get a head start on looking to ensure that we have a capital budget, we have a capital plan, and then we determine how much tax revenue on this particular tax we need to take in, because we have a continued growth in our half percent sales tax for capital. We have this 1.5 mil levy for capital, and we have impact fees for capital. And I would really like us to seriously plan ahead for our capital needs, including all of our deferred maintenance. And then when we have this discussion next year, we can tell the public we are imposing this levy because these are the things we need to do and this is the revenue we need, rather than imposing the maximum amount we can impose and then approving a capital budget. And that's what I would like us to work on over the course of the next year and incorporate that into our capital planning, our strategic planning, so that we can put the horse before the cart next year. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, thank you, Board Member Hopes. Any other comments, questions? Board Member Golden.
This is all just discussion. This is not a part of the vote that we're about to take.
Well,
Comments.
these are comments, and the chair is recognizing, comments. I didn't sense any kind of objection from Board Member Hopes, but he was making a suggestion about how we approach this in the coming year. Okay. If the chair not hearing any further comments or questions, we call the question to approve the capital outlay, the superintendent's recommendation of the 1.5000 mils for capital outlay. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. The motion to approve the superintendent's recommendation regarding the 1.5 mils is approved unanimously. The next item concerns, does the superintendent have another recommendation?
Yes, I recommend that the board approve additional millage voted levy for the fiscal year 2019 through 2020 of 1.0000 mil.
So moved.
Okay. Okay, it's been moved by Board Member Kennedy, seconded by Vice Chair Messenger, to approve the superintendent's recommendation that for an additional millage for the fiscal year 2019-2020 of 1.0000 mil. Is there discussion? The chair hearing none, the chair will call the question. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed indicate by saying nay. Hearing none, the motion passes unanimously 5-0. The next item, or does the superintendent have another recommendation?
Yes, I recommend that the board approve the resolution adopting the fiscal year 2019 through 2020 total millage of 7.1350.
Okay, there's a motion by Board Member Kennedy to approve the superintendent's recommendation. Is seconded by Board Member Golden. Is there discussion? The chair hearing no discussion, the chair calls the question. All those in favor of approving Board Member Kennedy's motion, seconded by Board Member Golden, to adopt the superintendent's recommendation for the fiscal year 2019-2020 of total millage of 7.1350, please indicate by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed indicate by saying nay. Hearing none, the motion, Board Member Kennedy's motion is approved unanimously. Okay. Does the superintendent have any other recommendations?
Yes, I recommend that the board approve the fiscal year 2019 through 2020 final budget in the amount of $850,709,468.
Okay. Is there a motion to approve the superintendent's? It's been moved by Board Member Kennedy to approve. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay, it's seconded by Vice Chair Messenger. Is there discussion?
There's public comment.
Okay, we have public comment.
Mr. Chair,
Okay.
I have just one comment. I do need to point out that this is the same item that you already had a public hearing on. You can choose to take further comment, but you already did have a place in your budget or a place in your agenda to take comment on the budget.
Okay, so we could proceed right now.
Could if you want to.
Okay.
But comment has already been taken. If you want to take further, that's up to the board.
I'm inclined to allow it.
I'm good with it.
Okay. All right. I think there's a consensus of the board to allow further comment. How many people have signed up?
Just Mr. Nelson.
Okay, Mr. Nelson, and I guess you got the stage.
You got my handout. This is Norm Nelson again, citizen. You approved this, so what did you approve? What I did is, these are your numbers, not mine, yours, on all your pages. Now add large stack, the 5 years of history. You either lied, if you look at your first two columns, total of revenue on your pages, on your budget pages. If you look at those individual pages, they amount to 3,397,000. And if you look at your budget summary pages, then add them all up, you only get 3,000,006. How could you do that? I could show you. Next column. Your budget, your transfers are not done. Your transfers are not done. You pull that money out of the sky. You pull the money out of the sky. What's further evident of it, look at column I. That's your CAFR. That's been audited. And it says you only had 558 million. That's pretty damn close, but long way from 608. Or 582, a long way from 625. 716 is a long way from 818. That proves the money isn't there. And it wasn't there. Yet you say you're going to spend that money. The other number off your pages are your last two columns, transfer details. If you look at those pages, before the transfers of capital projects funds, it amounts to all that money. Then after you supposedly transfer the money, you still transfer the same amount. You physically don't do it, just like I showed you with $100 bills. You transferred nothing. So you're lying to us. Now talk to the people from AMA. Their particular say, hey, you're stuff in the paper and what you said, misuse of funds of $1 million something they didn't have. I'm looking at you. You telling me you were spent $250 million that you never had, and you're telling them how to run the school when you can lie about $250 million? Thank you.
Okay, is that it? All right. All that being said, we call the question here.
Oh, we got
No.
Okay, what?
board remarks.
Okay, I'm sorry. Who goes first? Board member Hopes? Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And this is,
I'm sorry.
come on.
I wanted to do it, and I don't have it up here on the screen. I can't really tell from that screen who
so
wanted to go first.
this is for clarification, because we've heard this comment a number of times from CFO Jenkins. In approving this budget, we are giving the superintendent through the CFO the budget authority to transfer these funds out of the capital accounts, which are, we've got real money in capital accounts, right? I mean, and we got money that's real money that's carried over from last year to like pay for the final construction of the new schools, right? So this approving this budget, we're giving the superintendent and you the authority to make these transfers. They're real money, transfer it into the appropriate accounts so that those funds can be dispersed as we've authorized them to be dispersed, correct?
Yes, sir. The budget is the plan for how we intend to.
And you need this board to give you the authority through the superintendent to move that money around as part of our budget.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, thank you, Board Member Hopes. Okay, Board Member Kennedy?
Sure. I just wanted to just circle back to the Just for Girls issue. Like I said prematurely earlier, I think it's best to bring this back for a future budget amendment instead of hashing out this discussion, because I'm sure we probably are all, maybe have a different idea, if assuming that some of us supporting Just for Girls, we may approach the issue differently, and I don't think we should hash all that out tonight. But I do want to express that I will share with the superintendent offline, outside of a meeting, a thought that I have about it. And I just wanted to let the board know that, because this is my only opportunity to do so. Because I personally, and I've said this before, the issue for me really is this was a mistake of the board back in 2017 when we put the referendum together, because I think the spirit of the referendum was we wanted to support all of the kids in the district, but we forgot to include the word contract. And because we set aside 15% for the charter schools, and we made the mistake and didn't say charter and contract schools, and that's what's kind of tied our hands now until 2022. So I would like to find a way to rectify that mistake and support the young ladies at Just for Girls. But I realize we may all approach that differently. And again, I don't want to do that here tonight, so I'll get with the superintendent and we can kind of brainstorm.
Okay, thank you, Board Member Kennedy. Board Member Golden.
Yes. Thank you, Mr. Chair. Since Mr. Gauss has already been quoted, I will continue along those lines. What Mr. Gauss said was that we have the authority as a board to ask for a budget amendment that will be brought back that includes Just for Girls. Now, how she does that and how much that is, all of that's subject to discussion. The issue for us as a board is if that is what we want. And I thought Mrs. Woodson, is that the representative? Yeah, Woodson Howard. I think she crystallized what has been the conundrum that we've been dealing with when she said when she worked on the committee that was put together to try to get this passed, she never would have thought that the issue that was closest to her heart would be excluded. Now, if she's big enough to come in here and say, well, I wish I'd been more careful, then we wouldn't be here tonight. I think that we ought to simply be saying to the superintendent and to the staff that we're big enough to say, not only should they be included, but we expect you to come back to the next meeting with a budget amendment that does that. And we keep dancing around this and keep trying to make it more palatable. Either we're going to give the people the money that they need or we're not. So I'm prepared to ask for an amendment to the motion that has already been made relative to the budget, and that is that the superintendent be directed to return at the very next meeting with a budget amendment that includes funding for Just for Girls at the level that makes them equal in the district. So that's my motion.
Okay, any other comments?
I have other comments, but.
Okay.
You can, I'll wait till you're.
Mine's not about Just for Girls, so.
Okay. What I was gonna, I'm sorry.
Well, I just want to make sure, I do have a Just for Girls comment, but I'll wait.
Okay.
I'll wait.
Mine is about other things about the budget.
The chair recognizes Vice Chair Messenger.
Okay. I have two questions. One is for Mrs. Jenkins. Of the $850 million in this budget, how much of it is lottery money? I think the lottery was sold to the community as we're going to support education, and I don't think that people know how much it doesn't support education.
Right. Lottery funds are considered part of they come to us as part of our state funding. We receive it as FEFP revenue, so there may be lottery funds from a state level intermingled in with that. But specifically, the lottery funds that we receive are for our school recognition funds, which we know once we have our school recognition grades in, we don't have that amount yet. So it's typically about $2 or $3 million.
So out of $850 million, it's It's a few $1 million.
Yes, ma'am.
I know it's sold as, but just want to put some facts out there for people that, you know. The other thing I want to point out, and actually I have to thank Mr. Nelson with one of his colorful diagrams here. This is actually a page from the budget, and if you look over here, it has all of the wrong.
It is on incorrect letterhead, yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
I noticed that, actually when we sat down this evening and again when Mr. Nelson handed out our handouts.
Yeah,
So
I
I
was
will
like, oh,
make
that's-
sure that's corrected.
That is not right,
It is not.
because, you know.
Oh, you mean all of the papers that have Mr. Cologne's name on that?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Well, no, they're for
I'm-
last year's. They're copies of last year.
Yeah, and the year before and the year before.
No, but this is dated today.
Today.
It's
This is not the AFR. This is the budget.
the letterhead.
It's just the letterhead.
Mine's got the correct board members.
Does it?
Yeah, the one that's dated, oh, that was,
I know it was printed today. It's on my documents on my computer. It is incorrect. I just want to say that. Maybe we can fix that. That'd be great.
Of course.
Okay.
The ones behind.
Well, okay.
This
That
was
one.
dated July.
I saw that.
This is dated July. The September 10th one is the one that has Mr. Cologne on it.
Okay.
Dated September.
Believing that Board Member Golden does not anticipate retroactively changing his name. And he has a great name.
Then I would have lost.
I think he has a great name.
it's Twilight Zone,
I
remember?
don't
Yeah, I would have lost.
I'm gonna ask Board Counsel, if that kind of a Scrivener error affects at all, the authenticity and propriety of the motions that we have taken so far this evening.
Let me understand the situation. The document was given to you by Mr. Nelson, correct? Was he the author of the document, or is he just giving you a copy of your own document?
Yes.
He's giving you a copy of your own document?
Yes.
Well, while the document's in flux, you can make the correction before you vote on it.
Which document?
The,
letterhead.
Yep. Or you can call it a Scrivener's error.
It's just the letterhead. I think that's even on one page.
Okay, now that's just too much. I refuse to be a Scrivener's error, so. That's asking way
You'd
too
make a
much.
great Scrivener's error.
That's asking way too much.
Well, my dad said I was an error, so.
It's Mr. Dye, it's the summary memo.
Oh, I see.
Yep. Mr. Chairman, the proper fix is this evening is to take the text of the memorandum and put it on the proper letterhead and substitute it into the package.
Thank you, Mr. Dye.
You have to thank Mr. Nelson for that.
Okay, okay, we've had a motion and a second to approve the superintendent's recommendation. We're in discussion. In the course of the discussion, it's been pointed out that on the letterhead of the budget, it listed a couple mistakes. It's not just that John A. Cologne is listed as being a board member. It lists as Board Member Hopes as being the chair. It has it very correct, and Gina Messenger is the vice chair. And this is because the wrong letterhead stationery was used as a format on the front page of the budget. And also, Mr. Kennedy cannot be omitted too on in the 2017 budget, there was listed Mr. Kennedy as chair, and I think Mr. Hopes, in fact, was the chair at that time. Please correct me he was 2018, Mr. Hopes was the chair, and prior to that was Karen Carpenter. So I guess that's correct for the other two. Please correct me if I'm saying something incorrect here, but I think the only letterhead, mistake was on the 2019, letterhead. Now, I think our council has said that we can easily correct that. Can we take a pen out, or what's the simplest way to do this? I'm asking the council.
The simplest way is, as part of your voting process, to have the superintendent or direct the administration to replace the incorrect letterhead with the correct letterhead,
Okay,
but with the same text.
same text, okay. Now, do I hear that the mover, of the motion, to approve, includes now the motion that was just spoken by our board council, that as part of it, the superintendent's directed to replace, the letterhead, to correct, the Scrivener error, that included, Mr. Cologne as a board member, and, did not have me as chair, but have Mr. Hopes as the chair right now. To have it consistent with our actual letterhead right now. Now, you made the motion, didn't you, Mr. Kennedy?
Either way works. I would just, as we did previously, just say, motion to approve with allowing the superintendent to make technical edits as necessary.
Does that work, Mr.? Okay, I think Mr. Kennedy's put it a lot more succinctly. Okay, and the seconder was made by Board Member Hopes, and he agrees to that amendment, to the motion. Okay, now, thank you very much for bringing all that to our attention, and we have Board Member Messenger, Vice Chair Messenger, to credit or blame for that. And,
No, Mr. Nelson.
No, or Mr. Nelson for, I don't know if he intended it, but thank you very much, Mr. Nelson. Okay. You have a unanimous agreement with your comments to this extent. Let's put it that way, I think. Okay, that being said, I think that the board, the chair's going to call the question. All those in favor of Mr. Yes.
Did my motion die for the lack of a second?
Your motion died for lack of a second. Okay. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. The motion is approved 5-0 unanimously. Thank you very much, board members. The next item on the agenda is, workshop items and requests. Are there any suggestions for workshops, items, and requests? The chair hearing none, we're going to go on to updates. Legal update, board counsel, Di, it's your lead here to talk to us about legal updates.
No, nothing tonight.
Okay, instructional update. Okay.
Thank you, Chairman Minor.
Yeah.
Yes, there is information to share from the instructional side of the house, beginning with the posting of your adopted student progression plan that was approved the evening of August 27th. We have generated the modifications that were discussed the evening of the 27th. We are correcting typographical errors as well as correcting grammatical errors. A final review will occur tomorrow, and the posting of that document should become public tomorrow evening.
Okay.
Moving along.
Okay.
Also, the month of September is a busy one. We have American Founders Month, as well as we will be celebrating Freedom Week. That is designated by the state of Florida, according to Florida statute, as the last full week within the month of September. We are directed to provide at least 3 hours of appropriate instruction in each social studies class under Celebrating Freedom Week. Florida statute directs us to emphasize the intent, meaning, and importance of the Declaration of Independence. So we will be moving forward with that. Tomorrow is our first PLW, Professional Learning Wednesday, within the district. We will be focusing on the delivery of professional learning as it connects to requirements from the state of Florida, such as reading endorsement. Teachers will have an opportunity to go online and begin some of that work or continue it. Safety and security requirements will be addressed, social emotional learning, as well as the Holocaust. And I'd like to focus on the Holocaust for a moment because we will have an opportunity for our middle and high school language arts and social studies teachers to focus in on opportunities from the museum outreach educator. They may enroll in a course that will be available online. The Florida Holocaust Museum will lead a session for those teachers, familiarizing them with the museum resources as well as the eyewitness. It's a workshop. Participants will learn how to use the eyewitness educational platform in order to incorporate video testimony into their curriculum and help students enhance their skills in listening, writing, speaking, and reading. So we're excited about the opportunities that will become available for our teachers tomorrow as part of PLW, Professional Learning Wednesday. So additionally, we had an opportunity to meet with representatives from Curriculum Associates today. We had some deep conversation regarding iReady and the fact that it is utilized in 58 districts throughout the state of Florida, 58 of 67 districts, and over 8 million students are accessing it. So the norm referenced information then becomes a part of our curriculum and how we're looking at data. We also had an opportunity to discuss scheduling parent sessions, workshops. We visited a school where we were able to visit 3 iReady classrooms. One was in a lab setting, others were in classrooms, and we had an opportunity to debrief afterwards. Students are recommended to be served 45 minutes per week per content area. So that would be 45 minutes of reading and 45 minutes of math for a total of 90 minutes if you include both content areas. We watched as students in first grade had a rotation every 20 minutes and they were being pulled out for one-on-one instruction with the teacher as well. Moving into a 5th grade class, we saw that it was a really exciting classroom where there were small learning stations that were going on. A teacher had a small group of students, and then a few of the students were learning at the computer as well for their 20 minutes of instruction from iReady. And then you go next door and basically similar activity. One classroom was devoted to mathematics and the other to reading. So we are in the learning process. We want to make certain that we are establishing routines that will then benefit the students of Manatee County, and we will continue to work together as, for example, the professional learning opportunities begin next week with a representative from Curriculum Associates visiting every one of our schools over the next 3 weeks. So debriefing occurs, and then we make modifications as appropriate to enhance the instruction of our students.
Fabulous.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Operational, Deputy Superintendent Wagner.
Absolutely. Good evening, Mr. Chair. Thank you. So I just have 4 items tonight. Number 1, all of our Title I schools are sponsoring a free breakfast with dads, where the dads will bring their students. That's on September 25th, which is a Wednesday. Watch for flyers and information about that. Thank you to our food service team for helping us with that event. We try to have the safest schools here in the state of Florida, and we're continuing this week with our in-service trainings, as Mrs. Yost had mentioned, and revolves around safety and security. So I do want to recognize our chief, Mr. D'Amico, and his full team, who's helped put together videos and training, and this is the start of many great things happening in Manatee County with safety and security. Number 3, Department of Construction Services is closing out our summer projects. Besides the 3 new schools that we've opened, of course, we're working on a replacement for Sugg Middle School, renovations for Terra, Braden River and Willis are in the works. Also, we've done many traffic studies this summer, and most of them which include our drones to go out and help with the traffic studies. And we're working on our school sites for fencing, gates, and other safety and security enhancements. And number 4, a public service announcement. So with the hurricane relief, with help with the Bahamas, under the leadership of Mr. Darnell, our business teacher and FBLA advisor at Lee Middle School, he and his students have worked up an effort to try to help with the Bahamas. So if anyone's out there has goods that they'd like to donate, we'd love to have them at Lee Middle School at the front desk, and that's going through September 26th will be the last date that you can donate. So just a few examples. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Deputy Superintendent Wagner. All right, the superintendent's remarks.
Yes, I know that we sent out a message, but I would just like to ensure that the community is aware of the passing of Dr. Virgil Mills. He was a dedicated veteran of 35 years with the district, and he passed away yesterday in Tallahassee. As you know, we've had a school named in his behalf. I believe one of our executive directors, Mr. Rio, opened that school and worked there for many years. And he certainly had left a legacy in Manatee County. And our thoughts and prayers are with his family and loved ones. He certainly left a mark here. And Mr. Menace, the principal now, has been in contact with his family. So I just wanted to make sure everyone in the community was aware of that. Progress reports, parents. If you have not seen any, know that they're coming. We're finalizing all that. Can you believe we're halfway through the quarter? So they will be, you of course can follow online with the parent portal, but if you aren't seeing those grades in the upcoming few days or weeks, please contact your school so that we can make sure that you're aware of the progress of your students. Today, many of our Title I staff are at a FASBIPA conference. It is the Title I conference in the state. Elena Garcia, our director, is the president of that organization this year. I was blessed to be able to welcome the group. There's about 250 educators from around the state of Florida and Orlando learning and ensuring that we're following all the latest initiatives with Title I funding. Also, our strategic plan, that process has began. We had our first meeting for the community task force last week. Kevin Chapman, our director, is leading that charge, and we're looking forward to continuing that when most of the board is in attendance with the chamber retreat at the end of this week. So we will be getting input from the community members and business partners as well. So that is underway. And it is a busy week. I will be leaving tonight to go to superintendent training in Tampa. That will be Wednesday and Thursday. I'll be leaving there to go to the Chamber of Commerce retreat for Friday and Saturday. So, which I will see most of you there. So it's a busy week, it's a busy time, but thank you very much.
Thank you, Superintendent Saunders. Okay, board comments. Board Member Kennedy, you get to tee off.
Attention. Okay, I've a couple. Speaking of budgets, Reverend Golden, I think I don't know this for sure, but clearly by our remarks, you and I support the superintendent bringing some kind of amendment to us about Just for Girls. So this isn't a motion, but I think if we as a board express a consensus to her, she's a very smart superintendent. I think she'll show up at the next meeting with one. So at least two of us, and I don't know if anybody else wants to step up during their comments. Also, this is what Mr. Gibolino was alluding to earlier tonight. I was at the, this is a little bit of a long story, but I'll make it short. First, I want to thank our Vice Chairwoman for her service on the Children's Services Advisory Board. I am connected to, through my better half, Lisa, to the Healthy Teens Coalition. She is on that board. And so every year, Healthy Teens Coalition has applied for money from the CSAB. And unfortunately, Healthy Teens was one of a very small number of applicants to the CSAB that didn't get any funding. So that brought a group of us together to go advocate for trying to get some funds. Along that process, I ran into Mike McCann, who's one of our school district employees, and Susie Ardilla, who works with Mike. And you may remember it as the, not It's Your Choice. What's the former name of Stand? Anyway, was it? I'm sorry, I'm blanking on the overall program name, but it's now, the district is now calling it STAND, which is Students Against Negative Decisions. And so it's kind of there's a lot to it, but it's, life skills, anti-bullying, health. So the school district had applied for about right around $200,000 in funding to support this program. And when we were at the county commission meeting today, again, I was there for Healthy Teens Coalition, but there was opinions expressed among the county commissioners to say, well, I'm paraphrasing, but if this is a school district program, why doesn't the school district pay for it? And in conversation during public comment with the board, I said, this is a budget item that I will be happy to take to my board to relieve the pressure off of the county's budget at the CSAB. So I don't have anything to present to you tonight. I just wanted to make you aware tonight that I am going to, and I've already talked to Superintendent Saunders, bring something forward that you all can take a look at as a possible budget amendment in the future, because this school district program did not get that funding from the CSAB. Happy ending to the story, though. Healthy Teens Coalition, thanks to Commissioner Whitmore taking the lead on the motion to fully fund their request. And there was another, I'm blanking on his name too, but he also had been pleading to be funded, and he was also funded at his full amount as well. So I want to thank the county commission for kind of seeing the need that these two programs bring, and also just give you all a heads up that we'll be coming back with that potential budget amendment for you all to consider. If you remember, we all got an email last week from the Key Club at Manatee High School. Their project this year is a program called Stop the Bleed, which is about training kids and adults to use tourniquets and packing a wound and using tourniquets because a lot of times victims of violence, they could have been saved, but the injury was so severe they bled out before medical care arrived. So they have, if you remember that letter that we received last week, they have invited us as 5 board members and district leadership to come and do this Stop the Bleed training with them. The Key Club at Manatee has already trained the entire faculty at Manatee High School, and I just wanted to put that back on your radar in case it slipped off, so I think that'd be a great connection for us to do with them. Finally, I'll finish with the good news. Thank you, Superintendent, for allowing me this, and really the credit is due to the superintendent and her team, and Tammy Van Overbeck and her team at Manatee Elementary. But we received news today, and I had to write this out because I want to make sure I get it right. But the Community Partnership School Program at the University of Central Florida and their grants committee has awarded us an $80,000 grant that will be used to launch the Community Partnership School at Manatee Elementary. So thank you, Superintendent Saunders, for your efforts, and to UCF and Dr. Amy Ellis and everybody at Children's Home Society, who was very important in that too. One thing we do have to do, we do have to find $25,000 in matching funds for that $80,000, but we'll go beat the bushes for that. We'll find that somewhere. So things are slowly but surely things are moving along. So unlike it's already progress reports, things are flying by in the school year. But anyway, that's it. Thanks everybody, and thank you, Mr. Chair.
Okay, thank you, Board Member Kennedy. Board Member Golden, you're up.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. We have resumed our constituency meetings at the Y the weeks before these meetings take place. The next one, I think, is the 19th, Thursday. I think the October dates are being printed. I want to thank Mr. Barber for the updates that we get from all of the different news outlets. And it just puts it right there in front of us, and I thank you. And as soon as I learn how to use my phone, I'll access it. I know they're there, I just don't know how to get to all of them, but I do thank you for for providing that one place that we can get all of the information in the local media about our school system. Also want to thank Superintendent Sanders for the excellent, tempered approach to Hurricane Dorian. There are some school systems in the state that were out last Wednesday, last Thursday, Friday, and we didn't skip a beat because we were patient and measured, but we were prepared. And I really appreciate that, just from the standpoint of knowing that we're in good hands and that we were ready to, if the worst came, and we did not overreact, so when the worst passed us by, we could keep up and keep going. I will be at the legislative meeting with the Centerstone president, Melissa Larkin Skinner. Last year I came and I asked if we could jointly support continued mental health funding for our schools. And I'm learning from Mr. Kennedy. We don't need to take a vote on this. I just think we just have a kind of a consensus that we agree. Is that, does that work? Yeah, okay. But seriously, that we do jointly make use of the relationship, and that we can ask for. I don't think it's, what kind of funding do they call it? Not sustained.
Not reoccurring.
Yeah, it's not reoccurring, and that's our next goal. But right now, we want to try to keep it going. That's about all that I do have. I will not be able to be with you all at the chamber retreat. Yeah, at the chamber retreat. As many of you know, I have another part-time job, and we are hosting about 100 ministers from around the state of Florida with respect to public education. I'm president of that group, and so we are trying to get ready for the upcoming legislative session to wage some serious war against some of the most egregious offenses to public education. So I'll be in Orlando for that work at the same time. That's all I have, Mr.
Okay.
Chairman. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I guess we're going to have to cancel that Chamber of Commerce retreat if you're not going to be there.
Well, I'll move it to Orlando.
Okay, move it to Orlando. I spent enough time in Orlando. Okay. Board Member Hopes, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I want to thank Becky and the folks from, and all the supporters for Just for Girls. During our sort of intermission between our two meetings today, I was reminding Mr. Kennedy of how a couple of relentless board members can rally around an issue, and even though it took a couple of years, we did arrive at a resolution for the problems with the best and brightest funding for a number of teachers a while back. And I'm confident that we can move this forward as well. I suspect it won't only be a budget amendment, but it will be a contract amendment. But I think that the message was heard. We do want to focus on continued academic improvement. I'm really moved and motivated by what you're doing with the girls, especially the young teens, and preparing them for the realities of life and for success. But we need to work together. We do need to work as a village, and I think the role that you play is important, and it's close to my heart. So I'm confident that we're going to get there. With that, I think commend the administration and the superintendent. I think we have around 400 USF dual enrollment students, and I think Sarasota has maybe 50. So we're pretty strong there. And along that light, I'm proud to announce that I'm going to be joining the faculty of LECOM, Lake Erie College of Osteopathic Medicine, this month. And for those dual enrollment students, they have a program whereby they dedicate 10 slots for their College of Osteopathic Medicine for graduates who are attending USF Sarasota Manatee. And so if they choose to go into, and as we've spoken about, a focus also for not just educators, but healthcare professionals for our dual enrollment students. So those students who, like we're going to be announcing for our students who want to go into education, there are scholarships available. Our high school students that want to go into the College of Education, be educators, but also those who want to be physicians or dentists or pharmacists or healthcare administrators, that they have a pathway to leave our district with a head start at USF, go through USF, and have a guaranteed slot at Lake Erie College of Osteopathic Medicine's various programs to become healthcare professionals. So I'm looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to now teaching, in addition to the USF responsibilities, south of the river or south of Tampa Bay. And I'm looking forward to getting back into the colleges of medicine, and I've been teaching business for a while, and I'm looking forward to getting back to where some of my roots are. So I look forward to seeing some of our graduates. I know we have some of our graduates who are already there. I did tell Provost Dr. Forelli that she wants me up in Erie, and I said I would gladly come up there before the snow starts, but I'm looking forward to spending the time here. So thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, thank you, Board Member Hope. Okay, Vice Chair Messenger.
I'm usually pretty short and sweet. I really want to thank all the staff that went into the budgeting process. It's a long process, and I know it's a lot of work, so I just want to thank everybody for that. I would also like to thank Mr. Barber. I really appreciate the news updates. So I want to thank everybody for those things. And then just put a couple things on your radar. Thursday, not only is it the Healthy Teens event that night, see, I got to give that plug for you.
Thank you.
But it's also the Parish Charter Academy ribbon cutting and Parish Community High School's first game on their own home football field is Thursday night, 6:30. But your event's at 6.
Yeah, I have to fly from Cortez to Paris that night.
Just saying, moment in history. That's all I'm saying. And that's it. I'm good.
Okay, thank you, Vice Chair Messenger. I guess there's not going to be anything to do around here on Thursday night. Be down at, what, Pineapple Point, is that it? And somebody has to be down there.
You're thinking about the Pina Colada.
No, it's Pineapple Point. Is it?
Point.
Coconut Point, okay. Well, it's one of those. Okay, maybe it was Pina Colada. I think it's great. Thank you. Everybody's coming together, doing a lot of great things in the district. I'd like to bring attention to another item, and I think we all recognize that the anniversary of our United States Constitution is coming up, and in celebration of that, the school district is having, under the curriculum department, a Constitution essay contest for seniors in our high schools, the public high schools. And the students are being asked to participate, to have their essay, and it's kind of a short thing, but why they're to write on why the Constitution is important to me. I mean, that's been an amazing document that, despite a great war, has brought this country together to make it the finest country on the face of the earth. And for those who were involved with the Constitution, we are always in their debt. It has brought about a republic of great success. It's up to us, as Ben Franklin said, it's up to us to keep making it work. And I will pass along something I mentioned during the workshop, that Commissioner of Education said that in order to keep this a republic, we have to have an education polity of people, and that's critical to the continuation of our republic. I want to mention Willie Clark has been instrumental in helping to put this together. And also Shireen Gibson, who's our current Executive Director of Curriculum and Professional Learning. At the high schools, there'll be a committee of two or more, I guess two at each of the high schools, who will be judging, the top, three entries from that high school, and then giving it to Shireen for giving to a committee of organizations to look at and come up with the top 5, and they will be invited to a luncheon. The top winner will be coming here to read the essay, and there'll be cash prizes to the top 5 winners. And I just want to mention those who are giving their time and expertise to be judges. In Bayshore High School, Amber Lamar and Gary Polly. At Braden River, Jennifer Elston and Eric Nilsson. At Lakewood Ranch High, Jennifer Grant and Patricia Husel. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. At Manatee High, Daria Zoller and Stephen Murphy. At Palmetto High, Jennifer Little and Frederick Tyler. At Parrish Community High, Dana Licata and Anthony Cummins. And Southeast High, Sarah Bisek and Carolyn Luker. And at Horizons, Laura Carroll and Joy Clark. To all of you out there, all you teachers and staff who are being judges, thank you for putting that extra effort and commitment into this great event that reflects on this school district so well, that we recognize the importance of this as a foundation for holding our country together. And again, I thank Shireen and Willie for their efforts, and the superintendent for approving and encouraging this idea. So that's it from me, and I think it's time now to say goodnight. The meeting is adjourned. Thank you all.